Welcome. I'm TJ Walker. Thanks for joining me. We are live. This is the TJ Walker Success Channel. This is the one place on the internet where you can come pretty much every day and ask questions from an expert on how to communicate effectively. I'm TJ Walker, and I've been gone for the last week, but I'm here for you typically 9 to noon Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. I'm going to invite our friends now from TikTok. You can't be joining us on this StreamYard platform. I do want to say hello to our friends on YouTube, on Twitter X, on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, and a handful of other platforms. I'm now going to go live on TikTok as well and say hello to our friends there. So we're now live on TikTok, and I see Cassandra has joined us already. Cassandra, good to see you today. Thanks so much. I'm TJ Walker. This is the TJ Walker Success Channel. We are live, and I can take your questions and comments on YouTube. So I apologize. I'd love to talk to you live. You can appear on camera with me. And if you'd like to do that, I need you to come on over to my YouTube channel, which is TJ Walker Success on YouTube. And we're in the process of trying to figure out how to, in fact, get our TikTok community to join us here with StreamYard. So we have a few comments have come in already, and several people have joined us. Sanjita has joined us. Hi, Sanjita. And Ben, I know you're watching as well, Ben, on my team. If you could post the link to our StreamYard today, that would be fantastic. Suleiman has joined us as well. Hi, how are you today? It's great to be back live. I have been on vacation for the last week and resting, rejuvenating, having fun, spending family time. But I have to say, I got up this morning, I leapt out of bed. I had a fantastic night's sleep, about 8.5 hours sleep. And I was just so excited to come back and spend time with all of you. So thanks so much. Suleiman, Sanjita, since you're the first ones here, then I want to offer you an opportunity to join me live. If you have any questions, comments, anything you want to share with the community. Also, if you would like to post a question or a comment, I can respond to that as well. As Suleiman says, I'm fine. I attended your course in Udemy in 2020. I got to say it helped a lot. That is fantastic. And Suleiman, if you don't mind telling me, what exactly did you get out of it? How did it help you? I appreciate it. I don't mean to sound like I'm fishing for compliments, but I do want to practice what I preach. And one of the things I stress to people is anytime you speak, present, whether it's in an online course or any place else, if someone gives you general positive feedback, always dig deeper to figure out what is it, because it may be a particular example or story or an aside you threw in at the last minute that resonated the most with people. So, Suleiman, if you could tell me exactly what helped you, not that you liked the course or that you liked my style or any of that, as nice as that is, that's not really meaningful in the long run. So, if you could let me know exactly what you did, that would be very helpful. And I see my colleague Ben is back in our green room, our producer. Ben, have you posted the link to how people can join us today on StreamYard if they want to come on live? That would be great. And I do want to say hello to our friends on TikTok. I want to make sure I'm seeing that. We're having to do this through a couple of different inputs today. I have my regular studio camera where we push things out through StreamYard to YouTube and 7 other platforms. We're not able to integrate our TikTok community, our friends at TikTok, with this platform yet. We're working on it. So I have all of our friends on TikTok joining us just through my cell phone. And I want to say hello. It looks like we've had many dozens of people. Phil has joined us, Springfield, Gary, Enduring, Tamra, Gabe. Others have joined us as well. So many people. I will try to get to your questions, but it's very hard to be doing a live show here with a 3-camera shot and trying to manipulate my cell phone. Already, I've messed up something. Okay, there we go. I just want to make sure we didn't miss any questions, but we have so many people from the TikTok community joining us. If you would like to join me live on camera, you are invited. I can't do it today on the TikTok platform. So if you'd like to join me, I would like to invite you to come on over to the YouTube community. And all you have to do is type in TJ Walker Success on YouTube. You'll find my channel. You'll see it live. If you go to the comments section, or if you go to the community tab, you will see the live stream URL. You push on that and you can join me live on screen. Ben, I'm just not seeing, unless I'm in the wrong place, I'm not seeing our URL. There we go. All right. Thanks, Ben. We have, so it's under my name. We just posted something that says join me live and the StreamYard address. So we can do that. So Sanjita says, your videos are great. Help me focusing on objective of presentation. So Sanjita, I'm glad that you're focusing on that. So many people go into a presentation with the idea of, I just want to tell people everything I know so no one thinks I'm stupid. That is a very low bar for an objective. You should always be thinking about, what do you want your audience to do? Is it vote for you? Is it endorse you? Is it invest in you? Is it hire you? Because a job interview is a type of presentation. Is it to give you the budget support you want for the next quarter? Anytime you speak, typically it's because you want your audience to do something. Now, ideally, it's beneficial for both parties. But too many people go into presentations without having a clear-cut objective. So I'm very happy, Sanjita, that was one of your takeaways. Suleiman writes, says, it helped me start my social media content creation. I'm a psychiatrist and started creating content on TikTok, Snapchat, and YouTube, reaching many thousands of viewers and subscribers in a short time. Well, that is fantastic. That is absolutely music to my ears. A quick shout out to Abdul Warren. Abdul would like to join on camera. Abdul, I would love to have you. I can't bring you on through the TikTok platform today. If you don't mind coming on over to my YouTube channel, which is simply TJ Walker Success on YouTube, you can then see in the comments section a button to push for StreamYard, and you can join me right on camera. And you can also go to the community tab on my YouTube channel. We can take your questions and comments there. So thanks so much for that. So Suleiman, back to you. This is music to my ears, because I'll be candid with you. One of my frustrations is people who say, TJ, I love you. You're great. You're wonderful. I've taken all your courses. And they never speak. They never start their own social media video accounts. They're not out speaking in the community. They're simply stuck in a mode of learning. Now, I like to learn. I like to learn every day. But it can be something that really holds people back. It can be a crutch if you just tell yourself, if only I could attend one more webinar, if only I could attend one more Facebook Live session, if only I could take one more Udemy course, then I'll be ready. No, I urge you, hop in today. If you don't already have a YouTube channel, start today. You don't have to make money. You don't have to have any grand agenda. Just do something where you are creating an idea that's either interesting for one other human being in the world or entertaining for one other person in the world. I mean, just yesterday, my daughter was playing with my cell phone and she pulled some, I guess they were warm-up pants up to her neck. So it looked like she had gigantic long legs, and she's running around the house doing silly things, capturing it on video. And I said to myself, that would be a fantastic TikTok series. Now, she doesn't really want to do it. I'm not pressuring her to do that. But I'm telling you, if you have the capacity to make one person laugh, or one person say, oh, that's interesting, that's useful, I didn't know that, you have everything you need to start a YouTube channel, a TikTok channel, a Facebook channel, a LinkedIn community. So don't hold back. So Suleiman, if you could do me a favor, post a link to a recent video of yours. I would love to see it. I would love to share it with our community. I'd love to bring you more traffic, more subscribers, and we can cross-pollinate here, because this channel is a little bit different. I actually urge people to be self-promotional here. What we are about is helping you become more successful by empowering you to promote yourself by speaking. That's what we're all about. So we're not one of these channels that say, oh, you did something promotional, we're going to ban you and take you off. No, we want you to be promotional. So, Silly Man, if you don't mind posting one of your videos. Sanjita also writes, what else helps me is the emphasis on how to practice the presentation or speech. Well, Sanjita, that is music to my ears. Many of you have heard me say over the years, the number one way to get better at speaking is to practice on video until you like what you see. And it's also my number one failure in life because I fail to actually convince 99% of my online students to do that. Now, for my in-person students, they have no choice because I'm there with a video camera and they have no choice. So it's 100% effective then. But when I'm just teaching, lecturing, doing online courses, it's something I mention again and again and again. And people don't do it because it takes them out of their comfort zone. I get it. I understand why. But if you want to learn how to swim and you're uncomfortable in water, you're not going to learn how to swim until you get in the water. It's the same thing with speaking. Sanjita, I'm curious if you could tell me, are you actually rehearsing on video before your presentations? And if so, typically how many times and typically how much time do you spend rehearsing on video? Special hello to all of our friends on TikTok. And I see that Sushia says, what if I'm scared of judgment and humiliation? And I apologize for anyone who's written questions on TikTok. It's a little harder for me to read because I'm further away from my cell phone and I'm looking at comments coming in primarily on StreamYard from people who are on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. But let me deal with that question in just a moment. Back to Suleiman. You're absolutely right. The first video took me 4 hours to create a video that is 3 minutes. Now I can just press record and improvise. I'll post the videos shortly. They're in Arabic. Well, it's no problem if you want to post something in a different language. Now, I'm not fluent in Arabic, but I would love to see how you look, how you sound, your body language, your lighting, your set, all of these things we can perhaps give you valuable feedback on, not just criticism, but also praise. Let me take the question that came in through TikTok from Sushi. If you're scared of judgment and humiliation, it just means you are a normal human being. Everybody at some level, when they stand up to speak, is afraid of humiliating themselves and afraid of being judged by people negatively. So it is completely a normal reaction. Here's what I want to do. And I want to thank now we have about 50 or 60 people joining us between StreamYard, YouTube, and all of our folks on TikTok. Those of you watching me for the first time, we do a couple of different things here. It's a live show. I take your questions, but I also take you behind the scenes and show you what I do as a content creator in the communication skills space. So I will sometimes take questions from people, and then I will very specifically record something as a short form and a long form video. And I'll use different camera angles. And apologies to those on TikTok. You're only seeing the one camera angle. But if you come on over to the YouTube channel, which is TJ Walker Success, you will see me from 3 different camera angles. So I'm going to try to answer that question in a short form video, meaning less than 60 seconds, but also in a longer form video, because I do think it is so important, an issue that affects not just you, Sushi, but hundreds of millions of people. At some level, every human being does think about this before standing up to speak. So I'm going to do a short form video now from my camera too. And I'm going to clear my cups out of the way. And so I'm going to do this in a way where it seems disjointed. I'm doing it in a way to make it easy for my editors to piece it together. So it's going to look a little bit weird for you on that camera, but the folks joining me on YouTube and Facebook are seeing it framed typically in the right way from different camera angles. Okay, so I'm going to hit record on a sort of a master switch that records at super high definition 4K. What do you do if you're holding yourself back because of fear of judgment from others, from humiliation? Well, if that's you, guess what? You are completely normal. Everybody feels this. But guess what? When you stay seated and you don't speak, people are also judging you. They're judging that you don't have expertise, confidence, authority to speak out. So you got to pick your poison. Okay, so that's the short version. That's kind of a hard one for me to deal with in a short format. I'm going to do a longer format now. I'm going to switch to camera 1. So I'm going to try to adjust this. You're going to see my microphone here in a slightly odd way, but just realize that I am framed in a way that my regular studio audience or regular audience on social media will see it. And you're seeing the microphone there. I have to hit record. And I'm going to try to time this because it really is best if you can make the long form videos 8 minutes or longer. And I will come back to your questions. We're going to go long today if we need to. I've been missing all of you. I've been on vacation for the last week. First day back doing live in 9 days. So I'm going to stay as long as it takes to answer every single question people have because I do miss you. Okay, so let's go into the live recording. I'm going to get a little closer to my microphone. So what do you do if you want to speak out, but what's holding you back is fear of judgment from others, fear of being humiliated because you say something, do something that makes you look stupid. Well, guess what? If that's what you feel, it tells me something about your psychology. It tells me you are completely normal. Everybody feels that way. It's part of being a human being to be concerned about judgment of others in the tribe, people who can see you, people around you, your community. And of course, there's always a possibility that the judgment could be they think you're awful, you've destroyed your career, and that's humiliating. So it's not irrational to feel that way. But let's look at our options. One option, which is what a lot of people do, is to just stay seated, stay in the crowd. If I don't speak up, no one will judge me. No one will say I've humiliated myself. Well, yeah, that's true. Unfortunately, judgment still occurs. If you are always seated, if you're always in the shadows, if you're always in the background, if you're never willing to just stand up and speak, people are judging you. They're judging you as lacking in confidence, lacking in leadership skills, lacking in ability, lacking in talent. Those are all judgments. Now, it might not result in humiliation. Every organization needs worker bees, needs followers. Not everyone has to be a leader all the time. But don't kid yourself. If you pass up every single opportunity to speak because of fear of judgment, because of fear of humiliation, you are going to cap out your career. You're going to get to the point where you can't advance. Because in almost any organization, to advance means you have to manage other people. You have to speak to other people. You have to, if nothing else, you have to talk to 3 other colleagues at a Monday morning staff meeting. If people never see you speak out, they're going to say, well, TJ doesn't have leadership capability. We can't promote him to mid-level manager. He needs to stay at the first rung of our organization chart. Do you want that to happen? Now let's look at the most negative form of judgment, where someone thinks you're so awful, you are humiliated. Well, it can happen. There's no doubt about it. Barbara Corcoran, the famed real estate entrepreneur and host and co-host and expert on Shark Tank, talks about the very first time she spoke, she stood up, nothing came out. She froze. She had to run out of the room. She was humiliated. Well, guess what? That motivated her to go sign up to actually teach a class at NYU, to force herself how to speak in front of people and to gain composure. And now She makes millions and millions and millions of dollars being seen by millions of people doing what? Speaking. So even if you do humiliate yourself, guess what? Most people don't remember. People are focused on their own lives, their own failures, their own successes, their own feelings. You do something awful, good chance they won't remember it at all. However, if you consistently speak well, if you consistently show poise and confidence, if you consistently give out interesting ideas that are useful to other people, over time, people do remember that. They do give you credit for that. That forms a strong perception of you. And yes, it's judgment. People are judging you in a positive light. They judge you as someone more confident. They judge you as someone with more ability. They judge you as a leader. And that is why it is essential that you embrace the idea that, yes, you are going to be judged. You are going to be judged every time you speak. Now, people aren't necessarily taking a pen and paper and writing down on a 1 to 10 everything they love and hate you. No, it's more in the gut level. But they are judging you. So embrace that. Realize this is my chance to succeed. And imagine if you went through school your entire academic career, first grade, 12th grade, college, graduate school, if you did that, and you said, you know what? I like learning, but I'm not going to take a test. I don't want the teacher to judge me. I might miss some questions and be humiliated. I'll just audit the course. Well, imagine if your entire academic career, you just audited every course. Well, first of all, it'd be hard to ever graduate from first grade with that attitude. But second of all, how would you ever really know if you mastered certain subjects? How would anyone else know if you mastered certain subjects? So that's the problem with not being willing to be judged. Every time you stand up to speak, or even sit down to speak in a conference room, or sit down in front of your own camera at home to record a video, you are essentially taking a test. You are being judged. I'm being judged right now. And some of you might not like how I come across. I'm okay with that because I know that some of you will get some value from this. And some of you will like this. Some of you may even hit the like button, may hit subscribe. Some of you may leave a comment and say, TJ, you're old and ugly. You're bald. Your eyes are beady. There are going to be some judgments. I get judgments like that. But you know what? I don't consider it humiliating. It's just feedback, because in the aggregate, I know that I help a lot of people because I hear from you every single day. And some of you buy my courses and some of you hire me for training. So I know that there's enough good there that if somebody doesn't like it, that's okay. You do have to embrace the idea that, yes, every time you speak, someone might find your presentation boring or tedious or trite or uninteresting or unoriginal. Okay. But if some people like it, if some people get value out of it, some people learn something, then it was worthwhile. Something beats nothing. Some speech with one good idea is better than saying, you know what, let me sit on my hands. It's not perfect. I don't want anybody to judge me, so I'm just not going to say anything. So that's what I hope you really grapple with the next time you think, oh, I'd like to speak, but people will judge me and I might be humiliated. Yeah, it's possible, but it's also possible the judgment is good and it's going to result in praise and burnishing your reputation and promotions and more success for you. Okay. It was just a few seconds shy of, we'll go back to camera 3. That was just a few seconds shy of 8 minutes. So those of you watching me, what I'm trying to do is time my long form videos, and that was a long form, so that they're just over 8 minutes, because it does seem that resonates more with the YouTube community. and the YouTube algorithms, and they can put more ads in it. Therefore, they show it to more people. I reach more people. Everyone benefits. The other, and I did two different questions. I did one question in two different formats, a short form and a long form there. Okay, we're getting a lot of comments and stuff streaming in on TikTok, and I apologize because I'm in a larger studio with bigger cameras, computer screens in front of me, and I can't see it on my TikTok on my phone several feet away. So I apologize for that. Although Sushi does say great points made. So I'm glad that you were able to see that, and that was specific for you. If you have any specific question, I will answer them, but I would need you, if you're on TikTok, to come over to our YouTube channel. It's TJ Walker Success on YouTube, because if you post questions there, I will see it. You can also join me live on camera, and we can have an actual conversation, or you can ask a question, or you can post a video of yourself, and we can dissect it. Okay, so I want to go back to questions. And Suleiman has said he's going to post some of his videos. Again, we're happy for you to be self-promotional here. If you want me to critique one of your videos or say what I like or areas for improvement for a YouTube video, a TikTok, anything else, post it. We'll take a look at it together. I'll just share the content right here. Sanjita says, please share what's ideal time to prepare and practice. Sanjita, it's 4 hours, 32 minutes, and 12 seconds. No, I'm just kidding. The ideal amount of time to practice is however long it takes for you to be able to look at a video and say, I like exactly how I'm coming across. That's the best I can do. And for some people, that's one practice. If it's a 1-minute speech and you practice it once and you absolutely love it, and you practice it once and you watched it once, that's a total amount of practice time of 2 minutes. So it could be as short as 2 minutes. If it's an hour-long speech and or let's say it's an 18-minute speech and it's a TED Talk and you're hoping it goes viral and gets millions and millions of views, then I've worked with clients where we practice for 6 months, and I meet with them periodically in different places in the world. And we block out a whole day. So there's no one set amount of time. It's more of a qualitative issue of practice until you love what you see. Like, let me do a short one on that, because that is an issue that comes up a lot. Alina says, it seems that no one, and Alina, I don't know if it got cut off or we lost a connection, but I'm not quite sure what your comment relates to there. Dr. James Foster says, this is great. Is it possible to raise the camera just a short tap? It's cutting off the top of your head. Well, James, you're absolutely right. We have a slight technical glitch today. We do share the room with a couple of other colleagues who produce other shows, and we have a setting on that we're not used to, and it's cutting off the top 10%. So I am keenly aware of it. You're absolutely right, because here I am like this, where I normally stand, you would see all of my head, and now it's cut off. So I apologize for that. I just don't know how this works on StreamYard. We have some calls out to some of our technical experts, and we hope to fix it within the next hour. So, but Dr. James, I do appreciate your keen analysis of what's wrong here, because it is a problem and it's not an ideal setting. Those of you watching on TikTok, you're not seeing that. I think I'm more or less framed the right way on TikTok, but most people are watching it today through the StreamYard app. Oh, great. Here we have my colleague, Barb. Hi, Barb. So good to see you today. How are you?
I just heard about your problem on YouTube, so I jumped in to fix
Oh,
that.
thanks so much. And this is my fault. I should really go through more tutorials on every aspect of StreamYard, but I don't know how to get rid of there's a framing. I don't know if it's called a frame, a banner, a
No,
brand.
that's an overlay, and yes, that's part
Overlay.
of the training, and it always defaults to whatever the last one that was on.
Okay.
And so that's your responsibility on coming in to any studio, is to check to make sure all those settings are correct
And
for
so
you.
is there a way of changing it without having to stop this one and go into
I
another
did.
one? Oh, you did? Oh,
That's why I
fantastic.
came in to do that for you.
Oh, fantastic. Well, thanks so much, Barb. Very much appreciated your attention to detail and your knowledge of all things StreamYard related. And I know it's very early where you are, but just since you're here, and it's a great new picture you have there. So thanks for posting that. Any updates on your end that you'd like to share with the community?
Not really. I was just
Okay.
trying to check the technical for you. I mean, StreamYard just announced a bunch of new, well, they announced another new feature yesterday. And so I was checking in here just to make sure it wasn't impacting our live streams.
Oh, I
And
apologize. I just realized I made another technical blunder today because we're still simulcasting with TikTok, and because I'm hearing you through my earpiece, no one on TikTok can hear. So I apologize to our TikTok community. Let me take my earpiece off, and then I'll be broadcasting or I'll be hearing through my speaker, and that way our TikTok friends can hear, which means I just need to change my settings a moment and take it off of my earpiece and go to my regular. There we go. Okay. All right. Sorry about that, Barb, and apologies to our TikTok friends. Okay. I'm sorry, Barb. You were saying I got distracted there because I realized I was being rude to so many people. Was there anything else you were saying?
oh, that's what I came in for, is I heard that in the YouTube studio. I'm sorry, on the YouTube stream, and I knew what you had done, so I just came in to fix that. And while I was in here, I was checking to make sure that nothing else had been impacted by the announcements yesterday.
Okay.
So,
Great. Well, thanks so much, Barb. I appreciate it and looking forward to speaking to you later after you've had a first cup of coffee or so. All right. Thanks. Okay, we've had other comments coming in. But James, that's a perfect example of I appreciate your comment. It sort of forced me to think about it again. And now I think we solved the problem because now you don't see my head cut off. And a special thanks to Barb Tomlin for fixing that problem. And shame on me for not knowing every in and out of StreamYard. And let me just step back a moment and reflect on that. In an ideal world, yeah, I would go to 2, 3 hours of tutorials on StreamYard, learn everything. There is a fine line. And if you wait until everything is perfect, you'll never start anything. Now, you can make a case. I sometimes do things too slipshod and hop in too quickly. You can make that case. But I also think there's something to be said by hopping in, learning as you go, iterating, trying to get better. Because right now, we look better. This show looks better than it did a half an hour or 10 minutes ago because we fixed that problem. We were able to do it in live time with you, in part from feedback from Dr. James and others. And there's real value in that, getting something up, getting something out. If it's the one thing I've seen from virtually every astronomically, phenomenally successful YouTube creator, social media creator, is they didn't wait until every single thing was perfect. They didn't wait till they had the perfect camera, the perfect editing system, the perfect microphone. They hopped in and they did things and they learned as they went and they iterated and they improved and they got better and better and better and better and they reinvested. And that is, in fact, what I'm trying to do. Those of you who remember just a few short months ago, I was in front of a plastic background. This is a real background. This is not something generated by a computer. It's not a green screen. This is a real room. We've taken a lot of time to set this up and try to create a little more of an impressive studio for you. But the first few days, I mean, at one point, I had plants falling down. We hadn't figured out the best way of doing that. But now things are a little smoother other than the hiccup today. That only happens by getting yourself out there, getting feedback from people, and yes, sometimes making mistakes. Yes, sometimes people are judging you. Yes, sometimes it's a little bit humiliating, I guess, although I don't think it's anything I'll take to my grave as humiliating. But that's what I'm comfortable with as the best way of moving forward. Certainly, when I started making my online courses for Udemy and other platforms, I didn't wait till everything was technically perfect. I used a simple $40 webcam, an inexpensive mic. At one point, I was in a closet at my in-laws. And you know what? Some of those courses have become bestsellers and have become quite lucrative, even though technically everything wasn't just right. So I do want to urge you, don't wait until things are perfect. Start creating, start sharing. Of course, learn how to use your technology the best you can, but don't get stuck just in the mode of learning, or you'll never create anything for the world. So want to share other comments coming in. Dr. James Suleiman says he would appreciate that. Dr. James says it's still great. I guess you were talking about even when we had the framing the wrong way. Suleiman has to leave, but thanks so much for the value. Well, Suleiman, I'm glad you got value out of this. And thanks so much for just sort of popping in and popping out. We're here 3 hours a day, most days, Monday through Friday, not because I'm expecting you to block off that much of your life. This is designed so that if you can sort of pop in, listen for 10 minutes, get some value and leave, great. If you want to pop in, ask a question, get an answer, leave, great. It may be that you're doing a particular type of social media maintenance where you don't have to give 100% of your cognitive abilities to it, and you have this show on background because you want to get reinforcement on certain communication skills. That's fine. What I'm trying to do here is communicate with people like you in a way that's really flexible. You can come in, come out, ask a question, get real-time feedback. Some of you have 3 hours and might want to stay. Some of you have 10 minutes, may want to do that. Some of you don't have time for that at all. You may come in here once, say, oh, this guy seems like he knows what he's talking about, but I don't want to listen for 3 hours a day. But you come back to my channel, whether it's on TikTok, whether it's on LinkedIn, YouTube, and just watch my short videos. These are typically less than 30 seconds long, where you get one nugget, one insight on how to communicate more effectively. I was particularly pleased the other day where one of my videos got more than 10,000 views, and I'm not quite sure why. So if you wouldn't mind indulging me, I want to play that video because I'm trying to figure out not what I do wrong, because I do plenty of things wrong and I try to correct that, but I honestly don't know why this video did so much better than anyone else. And apologies to the TikTok folks. If you want to see what I'm talking about, come on over to my YouTube channel and you'll see, or Facebook or Instagram. Just go to one of my channels, TJ Walker Success, and you will see what I'm about to play. But I want to play this video because I honestly don't really know why it did so much better than others. So I want to hear from you as to anything you see that you think needs to be continued. So Richie's with us. Richie says, how do we speak and let thoughts flow? I keep losing flow in thoughts. Richie, fantastic question. I'm going to answer that in detail in a minute. But first, I do want to share with you this video. It's only, I believe, 24 seconds long. And it could seem like I'm bragging, and I'm not opposed to bragging or seeking compliments. But the reason I'm doing this is I want to learn two ways, not just from failures and mistakes, but to learn what are you doing well so you can do more of it. Because that's a key principle I stress with all of my clients when I work with them one-on-one and with my online students as well. So I'm going to share the audio. I'm going to hit entire screen. I'm going to share the audio again, walking you through the technical aspects. I've shared my screen. So here's the video. It's called Top Tactics for Diffusing Angry Customer Calls. And I believe this was from a short video I recorded just a couple of weeks ago. I honestly don't know why it's doing so much better than my average video, because you can see the one right after it did fewer than 1,000 views. And the one the next day had fewer than 600 views. Now, the one, I guess, last night, so you can see they bounce around, some as low as 200 views, some 1.5 thousand, but this one had 10,000 views. So let's just take a look at it. Tell me why you think it worked and what I need to do more of.
What do you do if an angry customer calls you?
First thing I need to do is turn up the audio.
Well, here's what you don't do. You don't
I know
debate
what's
them.
happening.
You don't tell them they're
Excuse
wrong.
me a
And you don't
second.
bombard them with facts. The
I
first
got to
thing you
change
have
one
do
other setting.
is you listen to them and prove you're listening by
And-
summarizing.
Okay. Okay, that was it, but I'm going to play it again so you can see it from the beginning. Apologies for that. Okay. So that was the video that did 10,000, by my version, it was viral. Now, by Mr. Beast's version, that's not viral, but that was viral for me. And I honestly don't know why that one did so much better. So if you have any thoughts on that, please post your thoughts. I would love to get your feedback, because I'm trying to figure out what to do more of, what to do better. I mean, that's one of the things that Gary Vaynerchuk talks about all the time is you produce a lot of content, not to produce a lot of content, but to do many tests so you can see what works well to double down on it. Let's see if Barb has any commentary on that. Barb?
The audio on the video before you did any change in your settings was live for us here in the studio and on
Okay.
YouTube. But we did not hear the audio that when you changed the settings, there was no audio.
Huh. Okay, that's
So
interesting.
we really can't provide an evaluation, based on that, because you just had started it, and then whatever from your end, you had audio difficulty, and so that we didn't hear anything from beyond that point.
Well, that's interesting. Let me try it again, because I really do want feedback from everyone. And okay. So let me try it again. And folks, this is one of the downfalls of live TV. You've seen it on the Today Show. You saw it with Governor DeSantis with his live announcement on Twitter when he announced his presidential campaign. Anytime you're doing something live, it doesn't matter how big the budget is, how big the network is, there can be technical difficulties. And that is one of the reasons why so many people are afraid to do live, because, what if I make a mistake? It'll be so embarrassing. Yeah, but you reach more people this way. You learn more as you go. So I'm going to try again. I'm going to put my headphones on again, my earpieces. And again, I'm going to apologize to our friends at TikTok, because I realize you're not going to be able to hear the audio this way. So our friends at TikTok, I really enjoy you coming. I would love to talk to you more. We're in the process of trying to figure out how to connect the TikTok community with our StreamYard community, which goes out on YouTube and 7 other platforms. So I'm going to have to play this. If you want to see it, I'm going to need you to come on over to the YouTube channel. It's going to be the easiest place, and that's TJ Walker Success. Okay, so let me get my settings just right again. I'm going to hit audio. I'm going to take it off of my speakers from my computer and put it through my Avantri earpieces, which is what these This is what you just saw me put in. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to change the settings on my computer so that they also go through the Avantri. And now I'm going to play that video again. I'm going to hit present. I'm going to share screen. I'm going to go to entire screen, screen one. I'm hitting a button that says share audio. I'm going to hit share. Whoops, I only did that once. I did something wrong. Let me stop that. In the StreamYard application, you have to hit share audio twice. If you do it once, it doesn't work. Why they have that extra step, I'm not quite sure. But I'm going to hit share screen again. I already have it on share audio. I hit entire screen. Now I hit again. Now I hit screen one. Now I hit share. And now I'm going to go to the audio. So Barb, please let me know if this can or cannot be heard. I'm going to play this video again, and I want to know from you, why do you think it worked?
If an angry customer calls you and they are irate. Well, here's what you don't do. You don't debate them. You don't tell them they're wrong, and you don't bombard them with facts. The first thing you have to do is listen to them and prove you're listening by summarizing what they're saying. Then you got to ask them, am I understanding you correctly? That has to happen before anything else good can happen. What do you do if an angry customer calls you and they are irate?
Okay. So Barb, were you able to hear that?
Yes, I put that in the private chat.
Okay. So, and thanks for doing that, by the way. So here's my question. Like, I look at that video, it had like a weird texture graphic at the end over my face. It's kind of fast paced. It's not one I would have picked out as being so much more helpful and useful to others. So I'm just wondering if anyone has a theory as to why that particular video did so much better. And Barb, I do realize it's early in the morning for you, but was there something about that? Because I mean, I didn't dislike the video, but I would not have picked that out of.
Yeah, that is a YouTube short. Is that true?
That's it. It's a short. It is posted on all the platforms, but we were watching it on YouTube, and it specifically went viral on YouTube.
That's where it had how many views? 10,000?
10,000 views, whereas
Okay,
my average is more like 1,000. So 10 times better than the average.
Okay, so on that particular, in order to make an appropriate assessment, I would have to know what date that was actually published on, and what was going on in the world that day, and look at your topic that was covered, and help, because YouTube was obviously pushing to that short, that topic in that short at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And then the additional criteria that went in, why should we push TJ's, has to do with you being on the platform regularly, consistently, and during that time frame. So other than that, I can't. I'll go and look at the short on the YouTube channel now and see if I can determine anything else. But
let me give you some extra data. Let's see if we can figure this out. By the way, for those of you, I'm switching to another computer screen, thinking, wow, this is kind of tedious and in the weeds. This is, in fact, the sort of thing, Mr. Beast does 14 hours a day. He analyzes data. He's assessing. Now, I'm not anywhere nearly as good as he is. So I don't want to make it sound like I'm in the same vein, but he's notorious for analyzing data to figure out, does showing a little bit of a smile generate 1/1000th of a percent better click rate than a bigger smile or no smile. So what I'm going to do right now is go into my channel. I'm not going to show it, but I'm going to go into my channel, and I'm going to try to look at that date and see if we can figure out. Because I am posting, Barb, as you know, 2 short form videos per day. And in the past, I've not noticed that it really made much of a difference whether it was the first one of the day or the second one of the day, and whether one day of the week generated more traffic than the others. But I can go back and tell you exactly what day it was published.
Yeah, I'm on your
And
channel now.
yeah,
So
so
I'll go.
it was published March 20th, and it was
Okay.
published in the afternoon, probably in the 1:15 to 2:15
Mm-hmm.
time period.
Okay.
Now, I mean, one thing that does jump out at me is there are a lot more people who speak to angry customers in the world in any given day than stand up and give a keynote speech or talk to the media. So it is something that affects a lot more people because pretty much so it's a more universal theme. And that is something I've been trying
Mm-hmm.
to do more of, is not, even though my professional background is teaching people who are executives, typically high level executives, who have to give speeches, presentations, speak at press conferences, speak to the media. As I'm trying to build my audience and community, I'm trying to reach a larger audience. And most people in the world are more likely to have to talk to an angry customer from time to time than they are to do what they think of as a formal speech. So I get that, but I try to talk about issues like that from time to time, at least several times a week, and they don't typically get a response like that. Dr. James says the video grabs our attention right away, resets our attention with the audio pings. You added graphics that display the emotions that you are describing, and it also resonates with the viewers and listeners. Okay. Well, James, I appreciate your insight. And full disclosure, I don't say this out of pride, but I personally have never learned how to edit. I don't know how to edit. I've never edited a single video. So I do have other colleagues who do the editing, which means if it works out well, they get the credit. So I will send your positive feedback to our editing team and let them know that you particularly like that. I guess where I'm still confused is we often put in audio pings. I wasn't aware of anything done really differently in that video than others. And that's what I'm trying to, if there is something different and it works, it bears testing further. Do more of that. Do more and more of that. Mr. B started off just sitting back in his bedroom talking about a Minecraft video with a low key, low energy voice like this, like a 12-year-old kid, because he was a 12-year-old kid. So he tested that for a while. It didn't do much. So he started testing other things and figured out over time what resonated more. And that's essentially what I'm trying to do. Barb, any thoughts?
That was on March the 20th, and I looked in that time frame and I compared it to other top YouTubers who are friends of mine and what they got. And everybody who had a tension word in their stream at that time had high marks. And I think it's because there was a lot of think about diffusing. You use that key word. And on that date, we had a lot going on in the United States in the political arena that we definitely needed diffusing, if you know what I mean. So if you just go back on that date in history, I think you just hit the jackpot in timing on what it was about. YouTube was driving it to my other colleagues' channels because of what they were covering, and I think it had to do with the topic of the day. Because,
Okay.
I mean, they're dealing with the technology and they want to drive the viewers to what their viewer interest in general is. And if that person put in there, they're hunting about, a debate between two people or whatever, that all comes into play in those key words that it's running the analysis on. So
Okay.
I have a hunch. I don't want to go into that topic, but I'm sure you're aware
Well,
of it. And
Here's where I appreciate you bringing that up, Barb, because here's an area where I've got to work harder, frankly, and try to be more creative, because I've had a general thought that I would somehow like to talk about political tensions, conversations people have about politics and politicians and political values, but to do it in a way where we don't get enthralled and seen as a partisan and create flame wars and anger and tension. So it's a subtle thing. It's a tough thing to do. Those of you who have been regulars know that I really pretty much never ever talk about politics. It's not because I'm not interested in politics. I'm profoundly fascinated with politics, and I spend hours a day consuming political news. And for many years of my career, I was a full-time political commentator. The challenge for me, and I would love to get people's opinions on this, and Barb, yours especially, is I would like to figure out a way of talking about how to communicate with family members, friends, coworkers
Well,
about tense things without it instantly turning into hate wars. Because I noticed as recently as, I touched on it just briefly a couple of months ago, analyzing a speech from the Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau.
yeah.
And I was analyzing just the purely technical aspects of a short speech he gave to his parliament. And yes, that particular video got thousands of views, many, many more so than the typical live shot. But the comments were completely overrun by people giving political commentary
Right.
about how he was, because they were on a different political side. And I'm not Canadian. I don't know one side from the other. But there were political opponents of his that simply because they didn't like his politics had to say that, he's the worst, most despicable human being on planet Earth. I'm horrible because I would dare say anything positive about him. So people have a very difficult time dissecting communication skills from the actual ideas being communicated. So I am interested in figuring out how to help people, have conversations with family members over a Thanksgiving dinner without things erupting into anger. But I have not figured out a way of talking about it without opening up the door of political hatreds flowing in.
Well, I think
Barb,
it's
any thoughts on
because,
that?
yeah, I have been a fan of your courses, a fan of your program for years, as you know, and through, I believe, 2 elections so far. And the whole thing is that don't attack or address the people, but the issues. And one thing that hit me very hard yesterday or over the weekend, I had a young balloon pilot friend who shared his story of going to college and how much it costs him, and that he was, about the loan forgiveness program that that's making so much news here in the United States. And it's, and hearing his side of it, of the story, and the predatory lenders and so forth, that, okay, the predatory lenders are not politics. Nobody likes predatory lenders in any form, shape, and time. They're really bad for all of us. But by talking about that process, I got into probably 6 hours of conversation over that, because it was a situation that, I'm an American. I want opportunities for the generations beyond my own. And I feel like I've done my part in voting, participating, researching projects and so forth, that I've done what I can do. But when I feel and I vote, but I feel when it gets to the bottom line, you just put your vote in, and it may be the winning vote, and it may be a losing vote. And you have to accept what is. But the situation, let's go back to the college, the colleges, and because, a lot of those people are your students. And that's also why I profess, regardless of whether you go to college, take these online courses by these different platforms like Udemy and Skillshare and so forth, and keep current, because once you have that degree, it goes stagnant if you don't use it. So the thing is that if you address, and this is a political time frame, but education is always an issue during every election in our country, always an issue. So don't attack or address people you can question about someone's tactics and bills I introduced and so forth. And that's why the professor friend of mine who is just, he went, in less than a month's time, we're only on the 25th of the month, and it started at the beginning of the month, and he went from like 14,000 YouTube subscribers to over 170,000. He had been a professor in college. He had really dug in deep in his research in our country and laws and so forth. And yes, he flavors his more on the conservative side. It's all quite comical. He addresses it comically, which is good because we all like humor. But his story is stop and think. What can you do about it? What can we do about it as citizens in the country? Well, we in our country, and the same thing up in Canada. I mean, someone voted for the leader that they have. The way that all turned out, their methodology of getting their leaders in and all these other countries. But it's like we have the problem as citizens. And the problem we have, this predatory lender thing is a negative for everybody. Because even if we forgive the loans, we as a country have to pay those predatory lenders. We're forgiving the students, but when the government pays those predatory lenders, it's coming out of your pocket and my pocket and those poor students who actually had that forgiven. So that's a bigger issue, but it's very pertinent to this time and place. And lacing into that, I mean, sit down and plan your program and the keywords that you're espousing during your lives, make sure you include them. As far as the predatory lending, you can even, in those instances, they're on record. You can even mention names. You don't mention good or bad. It's just they have been identified, labeled as that. But once we start attacking one side or the other from a political stance, then we get really locked up in a quagmire. And the whole thing is, it's not just one party, it's all these other people that get behind each of these parties, that get involved, and what they will settle for. Because this means that in our country, that if they settle for that and forgiving the loan, I mean, my son needs to have his loan forgiven. I mean, a lot of us baby boomers have children who have college degrees and have college loans. It's hit them hard. Mm-hmm. And I mean, when they've got loans over 100,000 and they can never, I mean, they look at it with the interest rates, they can never pay it off, I mean, they're not seeing the end of the tunnel, and it's not easy to see. They panic. It impacts.
Barb, it is a wildly complicated issue. I think I agree with a lot of what you're saying, but talking about messaging and communication, we do live in a world where so many people feel obligated to say, all education is good. You always get a return on your investment. It's always good to take loans out, and that's just not true. There's a lot of really horrible educational institutions in the world.
Right.
It's not just the for-profit ones; they get beat up the most. But there are a lot of, really, really old private schools that are wildly expensive, and yet they don't teach more than what a local community college would do for 5% the cost, and yet we live in a culture where teachers, society, others, financial community as well, telling 18-year-olds, make this $200,000 investment in your future that could give you tremendous debt. So I don't know that the problem is primarily, I mean, there are predatory lenders in the world.
That's just one topic.
The payday loan people, give me your paycheck from your construction job today, and I'll give you 50% of it, or they take an outrageous percentage. That's what I think of as predatory lenders. The education world, I think it's a little more complex. You might actually get a pretty good interest rate, but if you are going to a large private school where the tuition is $80,000 a year in living expenses, and you are from a poor lower middle class background, and you're majoring in art history and you graduate with $200,000 of debt, and it turns out art museums really only hire people who are fabulously wealthy because their parents are on the board,
Right.
you're not ever going to pay it back. That's a huge, huge problem, a little bit separate. Now, Barbara, let me just sum up this particular topic, and we're going to take a commercial break. There was a time 15 years ago, 20 years ago, where I would go on CNN, I would go on all sorts of different TV networks. And for the record, I've been on Fox News hundreds of times, MSNBC, CNN, Fox Business News. I've done more than 2,000 news appearances. And traditionally, I would go on and critique politicians' debates, victory speeches, things like that. And it worked fairly well. People would sometimes disagree with me politely. But a while back, things changed. If I criticized people of one particular party, the people in that party would often say, TJ, I agree with you. You're right. The people who didn't like that politician would also agree with me. If I then criticize someone from this other party, the people who like the people in that party would then attack me as a horrible, evil political hack who deserved to be killed. That's changed, and it's not symmetric. It's not both parties. It's happening with only one party in the United States, and that happened about 8 years ago. And that's why I personally don't talk about politics and judging the political communication skills of candidates and elected officials, because I don't have the resource, I don't have a major network behind me providing security for me and my family. So that's why I've had to change it. Barb, I apologize. We have to stop for a commercial break, and I'm going to take a quick break. We'll be back probably in about 3 minutes. But I do want to thank everyone for joining us today. We're going to be here for another couple of hours, and some funny comments coming in from TikTok. So we're going to, I'm going to share some commercials here. Just one moment. I'm going to go to screen one. Oh, actually, no, I'm going to do a different share. So I'm going to present. I have to stop the screen. I've got to present. I'm going to share a video file. That's what I've got to do. I'm going to go to my ads for show. And a setting that requires a tie. Calvin Klein does the job. Simple, elegant. I wear it on TV every day. If you're looking for simple elegance, nothing beats this Calvin Klein light blue business shirt. It doesn't distract. It looks great in person. It looks great on camera. I live in South Florida where it's hot. Other than when I'm on camera, I only wear linen shirts. This Untuckit linen shirt looks great. It feels great in person. It looks great on camera. I live in South Florida where it's hot. Other than when I'm on camera, I only wear linen shirts. This Untuckit linen shirt looks, kitchens, bathrooms, homes don't smell perfectly. That's why Febreze Air is in our house. It quickly makes any room smell better. This Kenneth Cole all leather reaction bag is fantastic. I've had it for 15 years. It looks as good as the day I bought it. You're gonna love it. I love these water shoes. I live in Florida and I take my daughter to water parks frequently. And if you're barefoot, your feet hurt too much by the end of the day. Or sometimes going on a beach where there's coral. These will protect. When I'm not on camera, I wear glasses all day long. They get dirty, they get greasy. I love my Magic Fiber. It cleans it so easily, quickly. I try to keep one in my pocket, in my briefcase, and at home at all times. Do you see the sunshine here? No, you don't, because these are great blackout curtains. I have them in my TV studio, and it keeps the light out and gives me what I need, control of the lighting. This 128 gigabyte SanDisk is massive. I produce lots of video every day for things like this. I need something that can store it. This is the ticket, 128 gigabytes. This curtain rod does exactly what I asked it to do. Now these are heavy blackout curtains, but no problem. The curtain stays up all the time. The rod does exactly what it needs to do. This rug is perfect for my TV studio. It blends in, it doesn't distract, it doesn't get too busy the way this carpet underneath it does. It's perfect for my needs if you're looking for a simple carpet. This camera mount is fantastic. I can use it at any degree. Right now it's facing me, but I can angle it so it goes down and looks on my papers or anything I'm demonstrating. It's really flexible. Okay, so I'm going to hit stop. Actually, I'm going to come back. Okay, so if you're wondering what in the world are those are not very slick commercials. Those were Amazon influencer ads, reviews. So I am in the Amazon influencer program. Amazon has a system whereby once you qualify, you can review a product you own or that you have and talk about what you like about it. Amazon will then put that video quite often on the actual sales page on Amazon. If someone watches the video and then makes a purchase, you get an affiliate commission. Now, I can also use those videos and link to a regular Amazon affiliate link to that. So if someone purchases that way, then they can give me a commission as well. We'll be talking about that more in our final hour today, where I don't just talk about how to be an influencer or talk about the Amazon influencer program. You'll actually see me make Amazon influencer videos, coming up with a concept, scripting it in my own mind, delivering it on camera, recording it, processing it, uploading it, tagging it, labeling it, and submitting it for approval into Amazon. So you'll see all that later on in the program in the final hour of the show. So what I want to do right now is, let me make sure I've deleted. There we go. What I want to do now is record more short form videos and long form videos. So these are ones that my editing team will take, edit it down, polish it up, get rid of my stumbles, because if you watch here live, you will see occasionally I do stumble. I stumbled in one of the long form videos I made earlier today. I stopped, paused for a second, went back to the previous sentence, and did it again. So I show you all of this here because I want to demystify the process. I want to motivate you to speak more, to share your wisdom with the world, to share your insights, whether you're an entertainer, whether you have substantive knowledge in some how-to arena. I want to empower you and motivate you to share your expertise with the world. So that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this here live with you every day, to give you a slightly better sense of how to do it. I'm going to adjust my microphone just slightly. One of these days, I'm going to do an in-depth video now showing you every single thing that I do in my studio, so you can get a sense of how to do that, any part that you want to duplicate. Okay, so what I am working my way through now is a list of common questions people have. Now, sometimes people email me the questions. I always appreciate those. Sometimes I pull these using the power of artificial intelligence and ChatGPT, which scours every kind of Google inquiry and chat room and social media discussion. So here's a question. I'm sharing these with you live. So this isn't something I've scripted in advance. I read a question and then I give you the answer. I typically record it, and you're getting sort of a fresh take. Now, I don't do it perfectly every single time, but what I try to do is 95% of the time, do it in one take that can be used. And I see Madhav has joined us. Madhav, how are you? It's great to see you again. Thanks so much for joining. I've been off on vacation for the last week, but it's great to be back and good to see you and some of the regulars with us. And again, a special hello to our friends on TikTok. I'm not going to get into the American political debates on TikTok right now. I'm simply going to share with you the attitude I've always had, which is until I'm a billionaire and can afford my own TV network or my own social media network, I go on every platform, and I might not agree with the owners' philosophies or politics, but as I talked about earlier today, I've done hundreds, really a couple of thousand appearances on MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, Fox Business, Bloomberg, CNBC. So I take the attitude of, if I can share my ideas and insights and help people in media, I'm going to do it. And it's not that I don't care about the politics or the geopolitical debates about any one ownership or philosophy of a media company, but that's how I'm trying to help the world. So with that being said, special hello to our friends on TikTok. If you're joining me live on TikTok, first of all, hello, thanks for stopping by. If you want to have a conversation with me, even appear on screen, I'm happy to do that. I would need you to hop over to our YouTube channel, TJ Walker Success on YouTube, or you can do it on Facebook or Instagram or basically any social media platform other than TikTok, because right now I don't have all the credentials needed to go live on TikTok streamed through a platform like TikTok, like StreamYard, which is what we're using to go on all the other platforms. So we're going to go through that in just a moment. I see Madhav has posted a question. I will come to that, Madhav. That's a big question you posted. But I want to do just one sort of quick social media video where I'm creating it here with the idea it's going to be edited and used later. What should I do to prevent nervous habits like fidgeting or pacing during my presentation? Okay, let me see if I can do a short form on that and a long form. So I'm going to go to camera 2 for this. I'm going to hit record. Take my cups out of the way. I'm going to try a different angle this time. What can you do to prevent fidgeting during a presentation? Well, for starters, don't hold anything. Don't hold a pen. Don't hold paper. Don't put your hands in your pocket. Instead, practice enough until the point where your hands move naturally. When your hands move, it won't seem like fidgeting. Okay, so that's a short form. What I try to do there is break up the issue, because fidgeting is different from pacing. Let me try to do one just now on pacing. Back to camera 2. What do you do if you're giving a presentation and all of a sudden you're worried about pacing and looking really nervous? Well, stop. I mean that literally. Every so often you have to stop. Now, it's fine to move if you're on a stage or giving a presentation. The key is you don't want to be consistent. Walk, make a point, stop. Then go to another part of the room. If you do that, you won't be seen as pacing. You'll be seen as confident. Okay. I think that one works. Now I'm debating in my own mind, do I want to do a long form version of that? Let me think about that for a minute, and let me go to questions that come in. Madhav says, how to find purpose in life? Well, Madhav, that is a great question. And here, this channel is primarily about how to be more successful in life by building communication skills and communications confidence. But as you know, I do have 50 or so personal development online courses, and I deal with this issue frequently. And the two things do, in fact, go together. I think you find purpose in life not by sitting around a tree saying, what is my purpose? What is the universe divined for me? So often, that's the perception of how people find their purpose in life. And I don't think that works at all. To me, the main way of finding your purpose in life is trying as many things as possible. Learn as much as possible. When you find something that really intrigues you, go deeper. If you find something you're really good at, go deeper. And that, I believe, is how you find your purpose. Because so many people, I've seen this, especially people who have some level of affluence and don't have that motivating factor of I've got to go get a job, sit around and they waste their life away thinking, oh, what's my purpose? What's my purpose? And then if you do that long enough and you have some other means of support, you just spend all your time at the bar doing nothing, saying, well, it's not my fault I never found my purpose in life. You can find purpose in anything. You could be the absolute best bricklayer in your town, or the absolute best person at creating, marble walkways, and get real joy out of creating beauty in something like that with your hands. I think that there is no one purpose for anyone in life. You have to find a purpose, and you do it by trying as many things as possible, and then listening to yourself. Do I enjoy it? Am I good at it? Do other people value it? Now, you may love doing commentary on World Cup soccer. You may love watching it, thinking about it, doing commentary. But if no one else in the world cares about your opinions, and no network hires you, and you can't get any views to your YouTube channel analyzing World Cup soccer, and you make zero money out of it, that's not your purpose in life. It may be fine as a hobby, but I think a purpose is something that you do as sort of your primary activity that gives you the most meaning in your life, and doesn't have to be, but quite often does create the economic form of stability to give you the life you want. Not everything is about money. I'm certainly not suggesting that the number one criteria for you and your purpose in life is how much money you could make, or what career will give you the most money. That's often a prescription for misery and burnout and unhappiness and depression if all you do is chase the money. In my mind, you've got to try as many things as possible, especially when you're young, but it doesn't have to be just when you're young. Try as many things, experiment, figure out what you enjoy. To me, it comes down to, what do you enjoy? What are you good at? What do people value? I do think you need all three things. Now, it's entirely possible that you find purpose in life by being the absolute best administrator of the largest hospital in your area. And your day may be filled with headaches. It may be that you don't really enjoy it, but you find great purpose and meaning in the idea that you've helped thousands of people get healthier. You've comforted families in their time of need. And you do get paid in a way that supports a lifestyle that gives you the joy you want. So it's not necessarily clear cut. It's not exactly 33% for this, 33% for this, 33% for this. I do think in an ideal way, especially if you want a long career, then you do want to find something you enjoy, you're good at, and there's a marketplace for it. You look at someone like the comedian Jerry Seinfeld, and apologies for some of you in other countries who might not have heard of him. He is the producer and star of the most successful sitcom in United States history, Seinfeld. And he's now a billionaire, according to most economic assessments of his personal financial status. And yet he's still traveling the globe doing stand-up comedy. If he makes an extra $100,000 tonight performing, is that going to change anything in his life as far as what he can buy or get for something? No, he's got all the money he needs. He does it because he enjoys it. And I'm pretty sure, unless he has a stroke and can't speak at some point, he'll be doing this when he's 100 years old or however long he lives. Because he enjoys it, he's good at it, there's a marketplace for it. To me, that's the ideal way of finding purpose in life, and you can do it forever. What I'm doing right now, I hope to do forever. I certainly hope to be doing this 30 years from now, and I'll be in my 90s then. So, Madhav, that's my hope for you, that you can find something you're good at. It could be in any field. You could be an engineer and have the most passion for building bridges and solving infrastructure problems around and love it. You could also become an engineer because your parents told you you had to, even though you really wanted to be a guitar player, and absolutely hate what you do and feel like you have not fulfilled your purpose. So that is my challenge for you. Find something you like to do, that you're good at, that other people value. You really do need those three things, I think, to feel like you have lived your purpose. Now, there are some people who love writing poetry. In their mind, they're good at it. No one else wants to read it. They can't sell a single book. Again, I put that down as a hobby. There's nothing wrong with having great hobbies. It's not what I think of as a purpose of having a big positive impact on the world. To me, that's kind of the nub of it, Madhav, is can you do something where you feel like you had an impact on the world? In the case of Jerry Seinfeld, it's obviously not that he cured cancer or solved some big political crisis, but giving people collectively millions of hours of laughter and joy and entertainment and taking their minds off, that is a big impact on the world. In my own case, I find purpose in the fact that I have a couple million students who've taken my courses, and many, not all of them, but many of them say their lives were changed. They've gotten promotions. They have started social media accounts. They've built their psychiatry practices in part because of how I help them. So that is what gives me purpose. So Madhav, I hope that was helpful, and I appreciate the questions. Realize no question is out of bounds. Now, is it possible someone asks me a question I don't want to answer? Sure. But let me just hear it out. Don't hold yourself back. And we can take each one on a case-by-case basis. But in general, I'm happy to talk about anything that helps make you more successful in life, especially if it relates to how you can be more successful as a communicator. Okay, let me make a note now, because I don't want to repeat myself too often on the videos I give. So I gave a short form answer to the issue of fidgeting and also pacing. So let me try to do a long form video on that. And again, those of you joining me on TikTok, what I'm doing, this is a workshop here. This is me sort of going behind the scenes, letting you know, what does a creator do who is putting out short form video, long form videos on a regular basis on TikTok, YouTube, and other. How do they do it? Because most of the time, all you see is the finished, slicked product where everyone is 100% articulate. No one ever makes a mistake. Every camera angle is just right. Well, that's not how it actually works. Most of the time when people do that, they do lots and lots of different takes, versions, edits. I'm doing it all right here, live for you, so you can see how does it actually work. And I hope to motivate you to try to make your own videos, to try to create your own online courses, for example, to try to create your own social media channels so that you can help the world. And Madhav, this relates to you as well, is if you experiment often enough and put your ideas, put your creative products out there, quite often you'll get feedback from the marketplace and it will build purpose in you. It may be that you just sort of fell into working at a restaurant when you're 16 and you were a busboy and it's just something to get a little extra pocket money. But maybe you went to advanced and became a waiter, and then maybe you became a chef, and then maybe you specialized, and maybe 5 years later, you're making wedding cakes and they're tremendous works of art. I mean, I happen to know people here in the United States who are such artisans in their craft of making wedding cakes. They make $10,000 a cake, and they are toasted at weddings with 500 people. It gives them tremendous joy to give people beauty on the most important day of their life and the biggest celebration of their life. So, again, didn't start out that way. They were busboys. It grew into that. So you can grow in a lot of ways if you're out there creating and getting feedback from people. AJ writes and says, valuable tips. AJ, thanks so much for stopping by. If you don't mind telling me, what did you find of value of anything I said? I would love to hear from you, because we're always trying to figure out not how to get more compliments, but how to help people more. So if you heard something you'd like me to expand upon, please let me know. We are live. We're typically live every day, 9 to noon. And then you can always come back throughout the day. We have typically not one, not two, but at least 3 videos posted every day on every major social media channel. So if you ever want a quick hit, just come watch one of the shorts, whether it's on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, any other major platforms, and you can just get a quick, sometimes 10-second injection of confidence and competence on your communication skills. But sometimes we do longer ones, 8-10 minute videos. Sometimes, like right now, we're doing a 3-hour live session with you. What I'm trying to do is really be more accessible to people than anyone in the world when it comes to communication skills, and to be, frankly, more helpful than anyone else in the world. It's why I've created a couple of 100 online courses on communication skills, public speaking, speaking in the workplace, media training. You can check those out at my main corporate website, which is mediatrainingworldwide.com. And by the way, if you are interested in follow up on really any of the topics I discuss, my recommendation would be go to the About Me section on YouTube or on TikTok. You'll see a link to my main websites, and you can learn more about my public workshops, private workshops, one-on-one coaching programs, video on demand courses, keynote speeches. There's a lot of different ways that really any expert these days tries to help people and tries to make a living. So you can see all of those there. And someone says, oh, I'm getting a message officially from TikTok, says, great job, you've gone live for 90 minutes, don't forget to take a break. And forgive me, we have had a number of comments come in on TikTok, and I have not been able to get close enough to my phone to check them out. So it is great that we've had what appears to be hundreds and hundreds of people joining us live today. And Mackie making a joke. I appreciate good humor. And Joe Bryan stops by to say hello. Jack says, shocking, this guy is single. Okay. Actually, my wife would be interested in knowing that was your perception. Let's use that as a learning moment. If you put yourself out there and you speak, especially in a video format, people are going to make comments. They're going to make judgments. I'm assuming that judgment was made at me, that you're being sarcastic, saying, shocking that I'm single. What I want you to take away from that is to realize you can't please everyone. If you put yourself out there, especially if it's in a forum where people can speak anonymously, you're going to get some criticism. Ignore it. That's really the lesson. Rather than debating everyone or trying to get into a battle of wits, there's simply some people who have had a bad day. They got up on the wrong side of the bed, or you remind them of their ex or something like that. You can't please everyone. Here's my challenge to you. Go to Amazon right now. Think of 2 or 3 of the best books you've ever read in your life, your favorite book, books you love from authors. It could be some of the most famous authors in history. It could be a contemporary living author. Go to Amazon, look at the reviews, and then click on their 1-star reviews. You're going to see your favorite author in the world, someone you think is just so gifted, and they are ripped apart. They're being told that the worst hacks, the worst writer in the history of the world. My point is, anyone doing anything great is going to get criticism. And sometimes it will be personal criticism. Sometimes it will be about your looks, your attractiveness. Just get over it. What I have found, especially on YouTube, is anytime someone is criticizing you about your looks, if you go and check out their page, every single time they're afraid to show their own face. It's always someone with 0 video. This happened as recently as this morning, where someone said my voice was awful. They just couldn't stand my voice. And sure enough, I checked out their page, and they've never posted a single video. They've never made their own voice available for anyone to hear. And that's been what I find the standard way of critics working. It's the people in the shadows who they got something else bad going on in their life. and they want to lash out at you. And the best thing to do really is, and this isn't my unique idea, Gary Vaynerchuk talks about this, just give them empathy and some sympathy. Think about how awful someone's life is, that of all the wonderful things they could be doing, they have to take their time to try to attack other people's looks online. I mean, that's a pretty sad existence. And Gary Vaynerchuk is the one who brought this to my attention, that that's really the best response, of just empathy and sympathy for someone whose life is obviously going that poorly. So, Jack, thanks so much for stopping by and giving me a learning moment. Jack also writes, commercial for funeral home. Okay. I've never done a commercial for funeral homes. I happen to have a lot of negative feelings about, exploitation of people spending money on coffins and things like that, but we'll leave that for another day. And Tartash says, I just got the #1 gifter badge. I'm not sure what that means, Tartash, if you could explain. And Mansoor is trying to join us live. Mansoor, I would love to join you, but I can't do it on the TikTok platform today. I would need you to come over to our YouTube channel where you can join us through StreamYard. And we posted the link in the comments on YouTube. You can also go to my community tab on YouTube and you can join us. You'll go right into my green room. I click a button and you share the screen with me and we can hear you and see you. So I would love to hear about it. Tartesh, if you can tell me what the #1 gifter badge is, I would love to know. So let me know. Oh, Tartesh says, just started my first corporate job. I'm still a college student. How can I manage work and school? Well, Tartesh, first of all, congratulations on your first corporate job and getting it while you're still in school. I think that's really smart. So many people, especially in the United States, spend their time thinking, well, all you got to do is go to school. I don't have to worry about my career. I can party, I can do this and that. And as long as I show up for my 5 hours of courses a week, I've done my job. And then they graduate and then they start looking for a job. And it can be too late. At least you've missed not saying you can never get a job, but you've really missed out on a huge opportunity to start your career on the fast track. So, Tartesh, I applaud you for having your first corporate job while you're in school and you're trying to figure out how to manage work and school. That's something that hundreds of millions of people around the globe can relate to, whether they're 20 years old, which I'm assuming you're around that age, or whether they're 40 and have kids and have gone back to school and are managing family, career, and education as well. Probably the #1 thing you can do to manage better is not spend time watching video entertainment. The #1 thing most people do to waste time is they just spend way too much time watching video entertainment. Now, when I was a kid, I watched a lot of TV. I'm not trying to say you can't ever watch TV or watch movies. I watch Netflix from time to time. But it's frankly the biggest thing that sucks up people's time. And it is the thing, if you cut it out, whether it's a day later, a week later, a year later, 10 years later, you don't regret it. You're not going to miss out on time you spent watching, no offense, TikTok videos or YouTube shorts or Netflix videos. Is focusing on that. You've got to figure out how to use your time for maximum effectiveness. So, Tartesh, if you have a commute to your job, for example, rather than just listening to music on a subway or a bus, use that time to do your homework. You've got to really figure out how to use your time most effectively and most efficiently. Tartesh, wish you luck in your career. Thanks so much for stopping by. Let's see what other questions or comments are coming in. Ramil says, what is your prediction? And I'm reading this reverse order, so apologies. SD says, I can't wait to see how awesome you are on YouTube. Well, SD, thank you so much. I do hope you came over and checked out the YouTube channel. It is simply TJ Walker Success on YouTube. So if you want to come on over there, you can join me on camera as well. AJ has written, can you conduct a session for students on the topic of how to improve communication skills right from high school. I am from India. So, AJ, I do have a course on public speaking for high school students. If you write to me, and you got to figure out how to do it, it's not hard if you go to my About You section. If you write to me, just because you asked, I'm going to give you a free pass to that course, public speaking for high school students. So it is something I've given a lot of thought to, and have created an online course for it. It's frankly not much different than public speaking for CEOs or public speaking for billionaires. There's nuances that are different in a classroom. But the biggest thing is take every opportunity to speak, which in your case is asking a question in the classroom. And the second big thing is anytime you have to give a presentation, what's a book report, a end of the semester summary of what you've learned, perhaps you're addressing classmates in an assembly, is to rehearse on video using your cell phone until you like what you see. I mean, those are the biggest concepts, but there are other nuances, AJ. And like I say, I do have a course on public speaking for high school students. Just because you asked, I'm going to give you to you at no charge if you send me an email, and it's not hard to find my email address. Okay, let's go to, I've got to form some more short form videos and long form videos. And let's see, I didn't really do the long form video on fidgeting and pacing. And here's what's going on in my own mind. I certainly know that I could talk for 2 or 3 minutes on that topic, 2 or 3 minutes each. But what I'm trying to do to resonate more with the YouTube algorithm is to do content, long form content that is at least 8 minutes long. So in my own mind, I'm grappling with whether I could do 8 minutes on that. Madhav writes in, what's the most challenging aspect of public speaking according to you, and how can we overcome it? Well, Madhav, the biggest challenge, frankly, is just starting, just figuring out, I'm going to speak, telling yourself, I am a good communicator. I'm a confident communicator. That's the biggest challenge, because if you tell yourself, oh, I'm not really a communicator, you'll always lurk in the shadows. You'll never advance. If you tell yourself, I am a comfortable, confident speaker, then you'll have more and more opportunities. You know what? That's such a fantastic question. I'm going to do a short form video on it right now. So I'm going to switch camera angles. What is the most challenging aspect of public speaking? So I'm going to hit record so I capture this in 4K. And forgive me to the TikTok community, because I am stepping out of screen a moment. What's the most challenging aspect of presenting, speaking? Well, it's this. It's the perception you have of yourself. If you tell yourself, I'm not really a speaker, I'm not good at this, you'll lurk in the shadows forever. If you tell yourself, I'm a confident speaker, I'm a good speaker, you'll seek out opportunity after opportunity after opportunity, and you'll get a little bit better each time. Okay. So that's a short one. I appreciate very much the question, Madhav. I'm trying to think, do I really want to do a long form on that? I think I do. So I'm going to switch to camera 1. We're going to do a long form video. And again, apologies to the TikTok folks, because you're going to see the mic in front of me, because our studio is not designed to have the camera from that particular angle. Okay, so I'm going to hit record. And I'm going to hit my timer, but I'm also going to look at the timer that is on my computer screen on StreamYard, which is almost 1 hour, 44 minutes. I'm going to shoot for 8 minutes here, which is really about the best time, or the minimum time, for a long form video on YouTube. What's the number one thing holding most people back from being a great presenter? Is it not having a great voice or not being tall enough or physically commanding enough? No, it's none of those things. The number one thing that holds people back the most is their self-image, their perception of, oh, I'm not a speaker. I'm someone who needs to stay in the shadows. I'm someone who needs to stay seated. I'm someone who should only speak when called upon. If that is your perception, every day you chip away other people's perceptions of you as a communicator, as someone competent, as someone authoritative, as someone who's a leader. The solution is very early on, the earlier the better in your career, you need to tell yourself, whether it's true or not, I am capable of communication. I am good at communicating. Now, I don't just mean fake it till you make it. You got to do this in steps. You got to get better at it. That means having the confidence to ask questions if you're in the classroom, for example, rather than just staying seated and say, oh, I'll ask the teacher afterwards. Just asking a simple question. Every time you do that, it builds muscle memory of you're someone who can speak and be heard by more than one person at a time. You need to seek out every opportunity you can to talk to people. That can mean walking into a lunchroom or a restaurant and just starting a conversation with 4 people, rather than sitting by yourself, putting in earphones and staring at your phone. You need to build a perception of yourself as someone who is a confident speaker, a comfortable speaker. You need to have an image of yourself as a communicator. The number one thing that holds people back is they just tell themselves, well, I'm not a communicator. I'm not a speaker. I'm not a presenter. I'm not a slick talker. I'm more good at, the research mode or the writing mode. Now, you can be a great writer. You can be a great researcher. That's fantastic. But ultimately, you have to communicate in the most powerful way ever if you want to be really successful in either field. And the most powerful way of communicating is by speaking. Doesn't matter if you want to be a best-selling novelist, you have to go on talk shows to promote your novels. You have to do it by speaking. So the number one thing I really want you to work on is this identity you have of yourself. I want you to tell yourself, I am a communicator. And let's face it, we are all communicators. We're born communicators. The day you were born, when you were hungry, you were fantastic at communicating with your mother that you wanted milk. You screamed. So you actually do have good communication skills. Now, does that mean you're already great in every single field? No. You can be great for crying if you're hurt or hungry and not be great at delivering a PowerPoint presentation. But you can become great at delivering an effective PowerPoint presentation if you follow a process. The process you did to learn anything else. You followed a process to learn how to write. You went to school, you had a teacher, you wrote things down, you got feedback. You got feedback on if you misspelled something, if you didn't put a comma in the right place, if you didn't use a capital letter in the right place. It was a process that you learned over years. Well, there's a process for learning how to be a better speaker, a better communicator. And you've got to speak, put some raw draft out there, some raw stuff. You need to record it. And these days, you can do it for free. Just use your cell phone, use your webcam. Look at it. Figure out what you like, what you don't like. Do more of what you like in the next rehearsal or the next presentation. Do less of what you don't like in the next presentation. Reduce the flaws, increase the things you like that you're good at. Keep doing that. And what you're going to find is you're going to get more positive feedback. Teachers, friends, colleagues, bosses, investors, the public. The more you speak and the more you try to apply these principles of making each speech, each presentation just a little bit better, just 1% better, you're going to get more positive feedback.
You're going to hear that. It's going to build your own perception of yourself legitimately, of being a good communicator. That's why I'm not talking about fake it till you make it. Some people say, well, fake it till I make it. I'm going to take a beta blocker and just get out there and I'll be so relaxed. No, I've seen people take beta blockers before giving speeches and going on TV interviews, and they came across like this. Hello, I'd like to tell you about my business and why you should invest in my fund. They're awful. They might feel relaxed, but they look awful to people. The ultimate thing that's going to give you confidence is knowing that your audience is going to perceive you as confident, as comfortable, as relaxed, and more important, they're going to perceive you as interesting because you gave them ideas that were useful and memorable. When you start getting real feedback, meaningful feedback, not just from teachers and fellows, colleagues and students, but bosses, other people in your industry, it's going to have a meaningful impact on you, your identity as a communicator. And when your identity is formed in such a way that you think of yourself as, I am a powerful communicator, then you've gone over the biggest hurdle there ever is, because so many people never get there. It's not just that they're 10 years old and say, I'm shy and I can't speak. It's not that they're 20, but they're 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. They've been living in the shadows their whole life, feeling like they are just insignificant, feeling like their voice doesn't matter. Well, I'm here to tell you, your voice doesn't matter if you don't use it. You have to use your voice in order for it to have any positive impact for you or anyone else. And it's really easy to use it once you feel good about your own voice. Okay. That was, so, hey, everyone's trying to improve. There's no such thing as the perfect speaker. That video was about a little more than 7 minutes long. So I'm still trying to get better at this whole thing. I was trying to do an 8-minute video in one take. I could have taken the time to outline it and say, okay, I'm going to do 3 minutes here, do another stop, do a look at the outline, do another 3 minutes, piece it together so that I could be 8-9 minutes long. I didn't do that. Maybe I will. So again, this is a work in progress. I don't have all the answers. I do reach, over the course of a year, several million people through social media, but there are people who reach several million people every 5 hours on YouTube. So I have a long way to go. All of us are trying to improve. I hope that's the only way to get good. And that's what this is all about. Now, one of you on TikTok just tried to join me live. Apologies. I can't connect with you live today on TikTok, but if you want to join me live, all you have to do is come over to my YouTube channel, and that's TJ Walker Speaking on YouTube. And then I can connect with you. You can come into my green room and we can have a conversation. So we are live. We're not stopping. This is not a hugely budgeted show with tons of production assistants around. So when we go to commercial break, I don't have someone coming around saying, TJ, your pocket square is a little crooked. So I actually had to adjust these things in real time, which is what I'm doing right now and trying not to make that stand out. I see we've had a few more questions coming in on our StreamYard, but I want to address a few more people who've joined us on TikTok. Esty says, I can't, oh, I've seen that already, and I very much appreciate your kind words. Is this an advertisement for your previous video? SD was writing, earlier today at the top of the hour, I did run ads because I wanted to show you the sorts of things I do for an Amazon influencer program. And once you make an ad for the Amazon influencer program, you can use it on any other platform, which is what I did right here. Rommel says, you look great today. Well, Rommel, thank you so much. This is, again, it's not that my ego is so fragile, I need someone to tell me I look great, but learning moment here. I've seen this happen to people where they do a YouTube video or a TikTok video. 10 people will say they look great.
One person will say, "Oh, you're bald, beady-eyed, and fat." And that's what the person obsesses over for the next 2 weeks and decides not to make another video. You've got to look at it in proportion, that you're going to get some praise and some criticism. And a lot of times for things that are very superficial and don't really matter to anyone. But Ronald, I do appreciate your comments that you think I look great. Now, I know in my own mind, I don't look anything like I did when I was 20 or 25, but hey, I'm happy to take any compliment like that. So very much appreciate it. I see Voice Acting by Chance has joined. It says invite guest. I would love to have you on, but I would need you to come over to my YouTube channel to join through StreamYard. SD says you have a nice suit. Well, thanks a lot. This suit, believe it or not, is about 16 years old now, I believe. This is the same suit that I'm wearing in this book, Secret to Foolproof Presentations. And this book came out in 2008. So you can do the math. So it's not a new suit, but it is tailored to me. And confession, I've put on a couple of pounds from the last time I had it tailored. And that's one reason why you see it's not buttoned. Because as you see right now, this is a pull sign. This is a sign that TJ's been eating too much dessert. There should not be any lines right here. So this suit was tailored just to me. I do like the fabric. It is very cool. I also like it that it's a lighter blue. It's more like what you used to see airline pilots wear. In fact, some people don't like it for that very reason. I like it because it's a little bit different. It's not just the stereotypical dark navy or dark gray suit that most businessmen wear when they're wearing suits. So thank you so much for the comment, SD. I do very much appreciate that. Okay, I see Farah writes a couple of comments. Was Barb involved yet? Because I have a feeling Barb keeps the wheels greased. Yes, Barb does a fantastic job. Our community manager, Barb Tomlin, who's worked with me now for, I think, we're going on almost to a decade, but certainly more than 5 years. And she is fantastic at knowing StreamYard and Facebook and community building and groups. So she's fantastic. Thanks so much. Now I'm getting, this is interesting. I'm getting a message from TikTok saying some comments in this live were filtered to protect the community's experience. So that, I don't know what someone put in. I don't know if it is something negative or harsh or mean-spirited or obscene. I'm also getting a note, and this is a note to my colleague Ben, that it says subscription goal reached. I don't know if we've now had a certain number of subscriptions on YouTube that unlocks some other benefit to us or not. I think I have about 12,000 subscribers or followers on TikTok. Farah writes, don't let perfection get in the way of done. Absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Farah. So many people hold back giving a speech because I think, well, it's not perfect yet. Something beats nothing most of the time. It's possible to give a speech that's so awful that ruins your career or that gives everyone a profound sense that you're a horrible person. It's possible. But to me, the far bigger challenge is, or the far bigger problem is not giving any presentation, not talking, waiting, thinking, well, I'm going to start promoting my business next month once I get the website up, once I get the patent, once I get the LLC set up. And people have all these wonderful ideas, things they should do before they ever go out and speak to their first prospect for a business. And it's completely wrong. Before you worry about the name of your business, a website, the legal structure, the bank account, the license, the first thing you should do is actually speak to another human being who's a prospect to hire you or buy from you. In fact, let me make a video on that because that is a profoundly important issue. And I see people make this mistake every single day. So I'm going to go and do this as a short form video. Do it from a different angle. What's the number one thing you should do if you want to start a business? Well, it's not start an LLC. It's not look for a logo design. It's not create a website. It's not create a brochure. The number one thing you should do if you want to start a business is talk to a prospective customer. Listen to them. Keep talking to them until they want to buy your product or your service. That's what you should focus all your time on. Okay, that might not go viral, might not get 10 million views, but I do believe it's profoundly important. It's an extraordinarily important idea, and most new business people make mistakes. I mean, I know people my own age who've started businesses in the last 5 years. They've made that mistake. They get so enamored with a new technology, a new concept, that they never actually talk to a human being who wants to use their product. And it's a huge, huge blunder. So Farah, thank you so much for pointing that out. Now, Tony said, Biden, is that you? No, I'm not Joe Biden, but we have about as much hair. I do think I am 20 years younger than Joe Biden. So technically he's old enough to be my father. But, you know, there's worse things you could be called than looking like Joe Biden. So I'm not bothered by that at all. And Farah says it's all right. It's giving voyeur. I'm not sure what that means. Barb for the win. Yes, Barb did save me. And I'm going back through this. Oh, Sushi writes, where can I go back to watch this all? Everything we're doing here today will be on my YouTube channel. If you click on the button live later today, it'll be a live video on demand. So if there is something here, you'll be able to go through it. And I think it takes about a day, but it will chop it up into chapters. So you won't have to watch the whole thing. You should be able to figure out what you want based on how in the description of the video, you will break things into chapters. You can also, if you leave a comment, you'll be able to see the comments replayed. So it is put as a video on demand, I know, on my Facebook business page, TJ Walker Success. It is on some others, but the easiest place to find it is going to be YouTube. So Sushi, I'm glad you like that. And so some other people have put in some political comments, which I'm just going to avoid. Some other people have said nice suit. This is the first day I've had that many nice suit comments. So thanks a lot. And several have asked where to watch this again. So I don't believe TikTok saves the whole thing for video on demand, but it might. So if you're already there and that is your favorite platform, I don't want to force you to go someplace else, but you may. But if you don't see it easily on TikTok, I do know if you go to youtube.com, type in TJ Walker Success, you'll go right to my page. Then there's a tab, and you'll see videos, you'll see shorts, you'll see live. You hit live, and this one will show up once we have stopped the live broadcast, which will happen in about an hour. Jeff says we should collaborate. Darn it, I'm seeing my pocket square. You know, this. So this is a real pocket square. Sometimes people get these things like cardboard and square, you put it down, and it looks, I think, a little too neat and too precise, and is considered a bit of a fashion faux pas. Those of you old enough to remember an old TV show in America called Dallas, there was an evil villain named Cliff Barnes, and he always had his pocket square like out like that. And it became a bit of a joke. I certainly don't want to look like that. What I want is something that looks like a real handkerchief and does not look perfectly symmetrical and neat and looks real. So the idea is, you know, someone's about to sneeze or cough or something, you can be a gentleman and pull it out. Now, do I really do that on a regular basis? No. The reason I use a pocket square, to be totally honest with you, and I try to be transparent, is it's a very easy way of adding a slightly small fashion flourish. I used to where cufflinks, I had certain types of silver cufflinks that were decorative on both sides. But they take a lot of work and time fitting it on. And as I got older, I got too lazy. So I'd use buttons. So I don't do the cufflinks. I don't do the tie pins, the tie clasp and other things. So this is just kind of a small, minor little fashion twist to give just an extra little taste of fashion. Now, at some point, could someone say, well, I don't like it, not fashionable? Yeah, they could. Am I committed to it forever? No, but it's something I can do in about 2 seconds. And other than when it pops out, it doesn't really take any extra work the way cufflinks do. The other thing is cufflinks can get lost. And if you're off to give a speech and you have one cufflink, that's nerve-wracking. And I don't want to give myself extra stress. So Jeff writes, we should collaborate. Jeff says practical optimism. Now, there is a new book that I just read called Practical Optimism. Jeff, I don't know if you're the author of that, but I do consider myself an optimist. I do consider myself practical. So I would love to collaborate. Now, people do pitch me all the time on collaborating. We collaborate on online courses, on Udemy. In fact, someone wrote to me this morning. I've got to write back to them after this. I have collaborated probably with 20 different online instructors for courses where we each do a different part. So I'm open to collaboration. Sometimes people want to collaborate by having me do ads for them or promote them in some way. If you have some form of business that you think might be ideal for a collaboration with someone with my skill set, feel free to reach out to me. I do have contact information in the About Me section on my YouTube channel, and I'm pretty sure it's on TikTok and most other places too. It's not very hard to find me online. If you can remember my name, TJ Walker, it's pretty easy to find me, whether it's LinkedIn or my website. So feel free to send me a pitch. I do look at pitches all the time. I will say I typically don't take Zoom meetings unless someone has really overwhelmed me with value in email. So the best way, I'm a reader, the best way to connect with me is by sending me a specific pitch. Speaking of pitching, fairly soon, this show is going to have live interviews with experts on communication skills, authors on some aspect of communication. Now, communication defined broadly, we're going to have experts on negotiation skills, experts on body language, all the things I love to talk about. We're going to start having interviews. They won't be in studio here typically. They will be done remotely. You'll see the split screen. So if you want to pitch me, if you're an author of a book on communication skills or something else you think that would be relevant to this audience, you can pitch me, because we're going to, I hope, start rolling that out in the next couple of weeks. So that's going to make things even more interesting. And part of why we're doing that is to reach a much larger audience of people in the podcasting world. So we'll be doing it as a video interview, a video podcast, but we'll be editing out the audio and then distributing the audio to iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, all the other places. So there's going to be a lot of fun going on right there. You know, what we did with TikTok last time is I think it automatically cut us off after 2 hours, but I'm looking at the time and we've now gone over 2 hours. So it may be I've hit some threshold that allows me to continue communicating with live streams on TikTok. I want to see if I've missed any other important questions or comments. Daniel says, Tucker is your biggest fan. I'm not quite sure which Tucker, if that's an earlier commenter, but it's nice to have fans. Daniel says, what do you think about the name Tucker? In America, there's a very well-known political commentator with that name, and I'm not a fan. So I'll ignore those comments. And I see my colleague Barb is back as well. Now, Barb, if you wanted to join add anything, feel free to come on right on. We're going to be shifting in a moment to Amazon Influencer, but I would love to hear from you if you had any particular comments. And I'll wait to see if you want to add yourself. Those of you not knowing what I'm talking about, we're using a platform called StreamYard. And we give out a link, and anyone can then join us live right on screen. So, okay. And I just see comments there. Great. Well, very happy that you're with us. And one aspect of the StreamYard platform is it allows people to give you public comments that show up on TikTok and Facebook and YouTube, and the host can see, but also gives people an option to send private comments. So that's one of the nice things about joining me with the StreamYard platform is you can send me private messages as we're doing this. And sometimes that's helpful. Or sometimes you want to put a spotlight, or sometimes you want to do a criticism, but you don't want everyone to know. That can be one way of doing that as well. Let me see if I've missed any other important questions or comments coming in from TikTok, because there have been, to my eye, it looks like hundreds and hundreds of people have joined on TikTok today. So it is great. I'm seeing something that says 1.9 thousand have hearted this. I can't imagine we've had that many people on today. So I don't really know what that is referencing, but I am getting an extraordinarily lengthy list of people who says they have joined. And some people with other political messages. This is not a political live stream or show. And other people are promoting things. Your Texas friend says changingminds.org. So what I would love to have is, if you want to promote it, come on and talk to us. So your Texas friend says, is promoting a particular website. This channel is a little different from others in that I actively encourage people to be self-promotional, but primarily if you're willing to speak about it. So our friend on TikTok, your Texas friend, if you want to come talk to our audience, share with our audience what you're all about, then feel free to do so. But you can do it by coming to our YouTube channel, clicking on the StreamYard link, and then you could come right on camera and telling us about your particular website. I think it was changingminds.org. Certainly sounds like a nice one. And he also says, he or she says, have you studied spiral dynamics? That name doesn't resonate, but I'm happy to hear more about it if you want. Tracy writes, I went to college and worked in my target field. Best thing I ever did. I think that's in reference to one of our earlier comments today from someone who's trying to figure out, how do you juggle going to school and working your first corporate job at the same time? Tracy says, we're definitely in end times. Okay. Now here's one I rarely get. Jasper says, you are so handsome. Well, thank you so much. I do appreciate that. And again, the only reason I spotlighted that is I can tell you one of the main reasons most people don't put their face in front of a camera, don't make social media videos, don't make online courses, don't give speeches, even though they really have expertise that could help a lot of people, is they don't want the criticism. They don't want to be told, you're fat, you're ugly, you're stupid, you're bald, you've got 3 chins. People don't want to hear that. So they just remove themselves from, they don't speak out. And I'm here to tell you, yeah, some people can be mean. A commenter the other day said, TJ, you have 1 strand of hair. All you can do, I think all you should do, is laugh at it. In the same way, Jasper, I appreciate your comment. Jasper says, you are so handsome. I like that, but I try not to let that get to my head, because, well, my family reminds me of all the reasons why I'm not handsome on a regular basis. And other people said, you're looking sharp. Again, thank you so much. The point of this is not that when you're making videos and trying to help people, you're getting nonstop praise for how you look. Of course, there are Instagram influencers who are really young and totally beautiful, men and women. And their looks are part of their identity and why they make a lot of money as influencers. That's not most of the world. It's not most of the influencing world. Frankly, it's not most of the YouTube world. It's not about your looks if you can deliver something of value. Mark writes, you kind of look like Andy Jassy. Well, Mark, believe it or not, I've heard that before. Andy Jassy is the person who succeeded Jeff Bezos as the CEO of Amazon. Now, the first time I heard that, I quickly looked at it and I thought, wow, he's really not very good looking. That's not a compliment, but I'm not going to worry about that. I think, frankly, we do look a little bit similar, that the hairline may be similar. I think he has small beady eyes like I do. So I understand that as well. What I'd really like, though, is to hear a little more about your questions that relate to public speaking, giving presentations, talking to people, having conversations, having tough conversations with people. That's really what we're about, not what I'm wearing or what I look like. For those of you, if this is your first day, this is a bit unusual. We don't really have people talking about what I look like or what I'm wearing on a regular basis. So a bit of an aberration. Now, Mark also says, as an ML engineer, what elements of ML are you adding to your app to personalize experiences? I have no idea what ML is. So apologies there. I do have an app called Ultimize, which is all about helping you improve every aspect of your life and through building habits by giving you reminders. So what it does to personalize is it allows you to decide exactly what messages you want to hear. So for me, for example, I have a message that I hear every single morning on my Ultimize app that says, TJ, you walk at least 15,000 steps today. That's a message I hear every day. It's not what most people hear. I have a message that I hear on my app every day that says, TJ, you keep a bottle of water next to you at all times, and you sip water throughout the day. You don't drink sugary drinks. Those are two messages I hear every single day. So if you're referring to the app I have called Ultimize, and that's Ultamize 2, there's a second version out. It's on the Apple Store, it's on the Google Store. I would recommend you try it. It helps not only with public speaking skills, but it helps you build better habits for every aspect of your life. I'd urge you to check that out. But forgive me, I have no idea what ML engineering is. I'm just going to quickly go through the TikTok comments coming in to make sure I have answered or responded to people's questions. So Michelle Brooks says, just got the #1 gifter badge. That sounds like a good thing. I don't really know what that means. Now, I'm assuming TikTok now has a way of letting people give financial gifts to people who are streaming there. I know YouTube does, and a couple of you have been nice enough to give me those things. I'm not actively soliciting it every day, but it's always nice to be appreciated. So thank you so much for that. We're going to take a quick commercial break. And then when we come back, I'm going to be making videos specifically for the Amazon Influencer Program. My apologies to my good friends on TikTok. I have to use my phone to make the videos for the Amazon Influencer Program, which means I'm going to have to sign off of our live stream. If you want to see the rest of this, please go to my YouTube channel, type in TJ Walker Success on YouTube. You'll see the live stream. We will be there until the top of the hour around noon Eastern time, which is in about 40 minutes. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play some other ads that have been created in the past. So I will not be live for a minute. I'll be taking these recorded ads. We'll be showing those. And we have a new batch that I have not even seen yet. So you're going to see these the same time I am for the first time. And I just have to quickly put it in the right place so that they can be available to you. Okay, so I've got this. Okay, these are the wide horizontal videos. So these were just sent by my production team. I'm going to download it right now, and then I'm going to play them for you and hope that not that you run out and buy everything. I want you to see what I'm doing, because these are ads that are actually running on Amazon right now. And I want you to realize that some of them are so simple that you could be doing this too and making money. I'm certainly not saying this is an easy thing or it's get rich quick, but I do want you to see at least how one particular Amazon influencer makes videos. My style is a little bit different in that I do everything in one take without editing, typically. If I make a mistake, sure, I'll do it over again. All right, so I'm going to take a quick commercial break. I'll be back in just a couple of minutes live to talk about Amazon Influencer. Hydro Peak Thermos seems like a part of the family. I use it every day. I carry it with me to the pickleball court every day. I live in South Florida where it is hot and muggy, and it's important to me to be properly hydrated. I don't want to rely on a vending machine that's peddling other stuff. I want to take my own filtered water. That's why I use this Hydro Peak. It does a fantastic job. It's durable. I've dropped it many times, have a dent or two in it. It still works perfectly. If you're looking for a thermos that is durable, sturdy, doesn't leak, I don't think you can go wrong with a Hydro Pack. Are you looking for something light and easy to take around to bring your music to your next party, beach, barbecue, pool event? This speaker does the trick. I've had this for several years. I've used it countless times with friends, family members, gatherings we've had, and it turns any normal gathering into more of a party. It sounds great without me having to lug around big speakers or find outlets. It holds its charge, it lasts for hours, it sounds great, it syncs up easily and quickly to my cell phone. I'm not the greatest tech wizard, but it's easy to use. If you want a nice sounding speaker for your events, home, office, out at the beach, this speaker will do the job. Reading is important to me. That's why I love this reading lamp. It's very flexible. You can adjust up, down. You can adjust how bright or dim it is. Hi, I'm TJ with the TJ Walker Success Channel, and so much of my success I give to reading a lot. I like to read at least an hour every night, so it's important for me to have reliable lighting. That's why I keep these around the house next to my bed, next to the couch, so I can read there. If you're looking for something that's flexible and affordable and reliable, this reading lamp fits the bill. I don't do a lot of stapling these days, but every so often I do need to staple. This Stanley, it works perfectly every single time, and it has for years. If your office, your home office, your regular office needs a stapler, Stanley knows how to get the job done. Like anyone else, I like a bargain and go for other brands from time to time that I've never heard of. But when it comes to batteries, things I need to really work, where I need the power, I like to stick with something reliable. Duracell is a brand I trust. We buy packets of batteries in bulk, so we always have the power we need. This sunset lamp is very versatile. It comes with a great handy remote. I can easily turn it from blue to red to green to white. It's useful for your home, for your office. I use it for my TV set to give a little more depth. You're gonna like this if you want a simple way of creating a little extra light in any room. This Glide Gear teleprompter is fantastic. I mount it on my tripod. The camera goes in the back. I then pull this out and I put my iPad there. All of my text, my script is on there. I can use software to manage that. And now I can be in front of this, whether it's 3 feet, 8 feet away, looking directly into the lens of the camera, following a script. No more of this stuff where I'm looking at cue cards over here, up there. I'm looking right at the camera. So it makes things really look and feel professional. Hi, I'm TJ with the TJ Walker Success Channel. Okay, so enough of that. We are back live. That gave you a taste of typical Amazon influencer videos that I make, where not everyone gets a lot of views, not everyone makes money, but some of them do. So now I'm going to make some. We'll switch to camera one. I'm going to switch to actually making videos. This is a tripod I have that allows me to, it has a gooseneck. It allows me to put my camera on here. Sometimes my wife is nice enough to drop by the office. She works out of a home office, which is only 5 blocks away. So I'm going to do these myself. Now, typically, I plug in a microphone, and I took my microphone and receiver on vacation and actually made a bunch of videos reviewing ski-related products because I was at a ski resort in Beaver Creek, Colorado this past week. So I don't have my microphone with me today. I could say, well, it's not perfect. Let me wait till I've got the microphone. I'm not going to do that because I am a believer that you try to create every day. So one of my goals is every day I'm in the office, I'm going to do a minimum of 5 videos for the Amazon Influencer Program per day. Now, I don't have to do them live with you, but it's one way of doing it, and it's a way I hope some of you find helpful. Now, I just moved this, and the thing spun around, so I have to make sure I tighten it. My phone is what spun around. I'm going to tighten it, try to frame it in the right way. It's a little too low. And this, it can be a tricky thing. It is a lot easier, frankly, to have a family member, a friend, a colleague hold the phone. And the reason I do it on the phone is it's just much easier that once it's there, I don't do any editing. I just upload it right into Amazon. So that's why I'm doing it. You don't have to do it on a phone. You can do it on a fancy video camera any way you want. Okay. So today I'm going to do books. I will share with you, most Amazon influencers say it's not really worth your time to do books. The profit margins are low. The cost is low. It's not really the best way of doing it, but I'm doing this for other strategic reasons. So I am, as I mentioned to you earlier, going to start doing podcast interviews with a lot of successful authors. Part of my pitch to them is going to be that, hey, I can get you on Amazon Live because as an Amazon influencer, I can interview people live right on Amazon and sell their books. Part of what I'm going to do in my pitch to authors is to say, hey, I've already reviewed your book. You can see my ad promoting you on Amazon, and you didn't have to pay me a thing. So I'm going to start doing a lot of Amazon influencer videos promoting books I like, only books that I like and already recommend to others. And I'm doing it because, sure, I can make some money when it goes on that website and people click on it, but it's building relationships with authors I already respect and like, and I want to be seen as a part of their universe. I also want to get on the radar of some of their publishers. So that's why I'm doing it. It's not about, oh, this is the quickest way of making a buck. Okay. Dr. James says, how can we get an app made? Oh boy, that's a big, big question. I'm probably the worst person to ask because I can tell you all the wrong ways of doing it. These days, there's so many artificial intelligence programs out there that claim they can make an app for you. I would first of all investigate best way to use artificial intelligence programs to make an app. Then I would go on Fiverr and try to look for someone to do it inexpensively for you. Making an app is one of those things. You can spend $0, you can spend $5, you can spend $200, you can spend $200,000, you can spend $20 million on an app. I've spent a couple $100,000 on my app If I had to do over again, I would do it a different way. So, James, I hope that is helpful. So I'm going to go through some books today. You're going to see me out of frame slightly because I'm framing myself for this particular camera. I want to pull this out of the scene just a little bit. Actually, that's even more noticeable. I'm going to put it right behind you. And that way, it won't be nearly as noticeable. Okay, so I'm framing myself for my cell phone camera because that's how I'm doing this. All right, I've got my remote control in one hand, so I don't have to be walking up, touching it, finishing it, and hitting stop. I'm trying to do everything in the least amount of time possible to increase the process and get more content out there and to do more tests. Okay, so let's get going. The Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday. The Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday. It is a classic. It's going to really get you up to speed on Stoic philosophy. Every single day, there's something new to think about, ponder, and reflect on. Again, I'm only recommending books that I actually like, have read, and enjoy. Next book, Getting to Yes, Roger Fisher. Every part of life involves negotiation, and this is a classic, Getting to Yes by Roger Fisher. If you want to become a true negotiation expert, you need to know what the greatest thinkers have said and written about it. Here it is. The Almanac of Ravel Navicant. It's got a foreword by Tim Ferriss. This guy is a unique thinker. He has genuine insights to the point where other people are pulling apart his ideas and creating a book about it. It's worth the read. That one was a little bit rushed because what I have found is that the Amazon influencer videos of mine that get 98% of views are ones that are 15 seconds or less. So you may have heard me speed up just a little at the end there because I was bumping right up at 15 seconds, but I think I caught it. Okay. This book is not quite as famous, but it is genuinely a good book. Do you want to be successful and have career protection? Do hard things. This book spells it out by Steve Magnus. If you focus your career on learning hard things of value to other people, you'll always be needed. Yeah, again, a very, very good book. Excellent Advice for Living. Excellent Advice for Living by Kevin Kelly. Kevin is a very respected sage in Silicon Valley. His wisdom seeps through every single page. If you want to be more successful, live a greater life, check out this book. Okay. So that's 5 videos that we've done today. And will any one of those make me millions of dollars? I seriously doubt it. What I'm trying to do, I'm still in an exploratory phase with my own journey as an influencer. Now, I've been in the online video creation world basically forever. Made my first video, wasn't online in 1975. So we're talking about a long time. I joined YouTube a few months after they started in 2005. I've had several channels, some of them no longer existing. But as far as being an influencer to sell other people's products, that's something new I'm experimenting with because so many of you have told me you're looking for more ways of speaking in front of more people and figuring out how to make money from speaking without going through all the headaches of cold calling convention planners saying, hire me to be your next speaker at your convention, widget makers and widget manufacturers in Las Vegas next year, which is the way typically people have gone about building speaking careers. So that's why I'm on this journey, to sort of see how I can be useful to you. So let me show you again the process. So I just shot 5 videos. I did them all in one take. Now, I don't always. Sometimes I screw up. Oh, and the one thing I forgot to do, which I urge other people to do, is after you do one, check it to make sure your audio works.
By Kevin Kelly. Kevin is a very respected sage and
So in this case, I didn't have a microphone on. Therefore, there wasn't a danger of the microphone being off. So in this case, I pretty much knew the audio was going to work. I can definitely tell the difference of not having a microphone on. The audio quality is not awful, but I was about 4 feet away from the microphone, the built-in microphone on my iPhone. So there's a little echo. Now, in this room, I have curtains, blackout curtains that dampen sound. I have a carpet. I have a rug on top of a carpet, which you see here, because the fabric, the design of the carpet is a little too distracting. So the acoustics are pretty good in this room. I also have bookshelves and other things around. So there's not tremendous echo, but there's still more echo on this than if I had used a microphone, a plug-in microphone. So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to walk you through this step by step. I go to my Safari on my phone. Any web application will do it. I go to Amazon. I go to my own page. This is a private page, and Amazon's rules say I can't show it to you. So that's why I'm not showing it to you. At the top of it, it says create content. I hit that button. I hit photo. Go to photo library. I hit the last video I just did. I hit done. It's now uploading that video. Now, let me make sure I'm on my Wi-Fi. I should have done that initially. Well, I'll do that after this one. They're only 15-second videos, so they don't take a lot of time. By the way, I think we'll finish up a few minutes before noon, which means I will have time if you have more questions about any aspect of communication skills or personal development. So if you have questions, you can just post the comments right here on YouTube, Facebook, any of those places, and I should see it through the StreamYard application. Okay, so we just uploaded the video. I'm now picking up the book. I'm going to hit your orders. 98% of books I buy them through Amazon, in part because if I don't buy it on Amazon, I'll see a review of the book 6 months after I bought it, and I'll buy it again. Amazon tells me that I've already bought it. So that is one of the huge things, big decision Jeff Bezos made a long time ago to make things a lot more helpful for the user experience, and it really does work. Excellent advice for living. Now, because I can speak a lot faster with fewer errors than typing, I'm going to dictate. I see the product. I did, in fact, buy it on Amazon. I see that it has 4.5 stars and more than 1,000 reviews. So I click that, I hit done. Now I title it. See why Kevin Kelly is considered a true sage! Exclamation point. Okay, so what I did there is I dictated it, but when I dictated it, a couple of extra commas were put in. I didn't say it because I was still dictating, and if I talked to you, that would have shown up. So now I'm going to hit submit post. So that's posted. So that one is completely done, soup to nuts. Now we're going to go back to the storefront. I'm just going to pick up a book, create content, post photo, photo library. I go to the next book. That one is 16 seconds. Ideally, I thought I'd gotten it at 15. Well, I had 3 videos at 15 seconds today, which is exactly what I was shooting for. One at 13, but one's at 16. Not the end of the world. Again, I'm not expecting to make a lot of money from these videos. What I'm trying to do is build relationships with the authors. These are authors I respect. And now I'm hitting your orders. This is let's see, which one was this? I'm sort of multitasking here, and I believe it's the Almanac of Naval Ravikant. I've got to hit play now. No, it's Hard Things. Sorry. So I'm picking up the book Hard Things. I'm now going to do the title. Create permanent demand for you in your career. A little bit awkward of a headline, yeah, but it does sort of sum. Now I've got to add the product. Do Hard Things. It's there, 4.5 stars, more than 1,000 reviews. Now, I'm not afraid to give a review, especially for a book that has less than 4.5 stars. If it's a typical consumer product, I'm a little wary of giving recommendations to anything below 4 stars, because that typically means a lot of consumers were not very happy with it. Books are a little bit different in that someone can have some controversial ideas that I think are great, or may have 1 or 2 ideas that I think are great, and the rest of the book isn't that great, but I find it's worth it reading it just for those few ideas. So that's what's a little bit different about reviews, what I look for. So I would, as I mentioned, I'm not afraid to go against the grain, but I don't generally like to recommend something that a lot of people really don't like. And I think it's going to get them upset. If I recommend it, they buy it, and they run into the same problem a lot of other people did. Okay, now it's the Naval Ravikant book. So I hit done. It's uploading that video into the program. I'm then going to tag it, give a label, hit submit. And I want to thank those of you joining me today, and especially at the tail end. We've been on for 2 hours and 42 minutes. We will be taking, if you have any final questions today, because I'm going to be finishing up this in just a moment. And I do want to be thankful and responsive to anyone who asks questions related to communication skills or success. Okay, going to your orders. The Almanac of Naval Ravikant. That changed it to Novel Rabbit. Let's see if that no, it didn't pull up anything. The Almanac of that's what pulled it up. Again, it's another 4.5 star rated book, 17,000 reviews. Novel, again, I know I can't dictate his name. So this one I'm going to have to type out. My autocorrect is turning it into out naval. Every once in a while, a true oracle surfaces. Okay, I didn't use his name. You could say that's lazy. I don't know that, and they're already going to know the name of the author of the book. So that's just how I decided to do that one. Again, best practices would be perhaps use ChatGPT, brainstorm on 100 different titles to grab people's attention. Maybe do A/B testing. There's all sorts of ways you can go deeper and deeper and deeper into this. At some point, you have to make judgments as to what's your time worth, what is the expected rate of return for any one ad, any one project you're working on. And in my case, it's not that I don't care about these, and I certainly don't mean to be slipshod. I am trying to do something of simple quality. If I make a mistake, I'll just hit delete. But I'm not going to invest lots and lots of time in these. That's just not what I think is the best use of my time at this stage of my career, creating Amazon influencer videos. And to give you a quick update, I started this late December and really didn't start seriously till January. So we're just coming up on about 3 months. And I've made close to 500 videos and ads, including pictures. My goal is to get to 1,000 and then kind of reassess and figure out what's the best strategy and what to double down on. Okay. And now I forgot what that book was. So that's the Getting to Yes, Roger Fisher. Okay. Learn how to get to yes in your next negotiation. Your orders. Getting to yes. I see the book. Another one, 4.5 stars, 10,000 reviews. So you know it's a quality book. I mean, is it possible that a book has 10,000 views or reviews, 4.5 stars, and you think it's horrible, or I think it's, yeah, it's possible. But quite often that is a pretty good indication of quality. Because let's face it, there are a million books. There's millions and millions of books on Amazon. According to some estimates, there's more than 1 million books published a year, if you count every sort of self-published thing. The biggest problem for most books is not negative reviews. The biggest problem the vast majority of books have is nobody's ever reviewed it because no one's ever read it. And that's the huge problem most people face. Okay, I think we did all 5 books there. Let's, unless I forgot one, let me see if we did in fact upload those. I'm going to hit manage. Let me see if they've showed up. I'm going to hit drafts. I'm going to hit pending. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I think I forgot I think I didn't do the Daily Stoic. I don't think I did that one yet. Let's see if that's the last one. So I'm going to hit create content, photo library. Yes, I had not done the Daily Stoic yet. So we're uploading the final video. What I try to do to make the workflow faster and easier is make one video in one take. If I make a mistake, I delete it right away. Because if you don't delete it, there's always an accidental chance you've uploaded the wrong one. Plus, there's the time it takes to look at it and decide, I don't like that one. And maybe you forgot what was wrong with it if it's not obvious. Your order, the Daily Stoic. Search. It's giving me 2 exactly the same. It maybe one is the audio version. I'm not sure. I'm going to add, again, I'm going to do the other one and see if that, the Daily Stoic. I don't typically do this, but it's, I want to make sure I am covering all my bases. If it does, in fact, put a review on one page versus the other. I think it's the same page. And it's just giving you the option of, do you want the Kindle version, the audio version, or the paper version? Ryan Holiday is the modern day Stoic. Exclamation point. So I'm going to hit that. I'm going to hit submit. Go to storefront. Okay. All right. Now, I don't know why exactly, because this is a controlled atmosphere and it's 73 degrees. And that was perfectly fine until really just a couple of minutes ago. I now feel myself getting hot and sweaty. So if you look closely, you can actually see me sweating. I think I have time to make one more video, but I don't want to record a video where I'm sweating. So I'm going to step off camera for just 1 second. I am going to show you how I do apply makeup, because I want you to realize you don't have to use makeup. But if you do, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm not a world-class makeup expert, but I can show you what I do. Now, I'm hoping I didn't leave little bits of paper. So I've just wiped off to dry my face. And I've also consequently wiped off some of the makeup. So what I'm going to do right now is just do what I typically do in the green room before we start. And that is I put a mosaic powder on. What that does, wipe off the extra, is it takes a little of the shine off. I'm not trying to make myself look like I have a better tan, a worse tan, or look dramatically better looking. All I'm trying to do is eliminate shine. And so that's one of the things I really try to avoid, is sweating while making any sort of video, because people associate somebody sweaty with being nervous, maybe uncomfortable, maybe lying. And I don't want that, obviously. So now let's take a look at our list of questions, where these are questions put together by ChatGPT on common issues people face as it relates to communication, public speaking, and giving presentations. How can I avoid using distracting visual elements or design choices in my slides or presentation materials? Okay, I don't talk a lot about PowerPoint here, not because I don't care about it, but because it tends to get so complicated so quickly, it's hard to give any one piece of advice in a vacuum. But I'm going to do my best on this one. Okay, I'm going to go to camera 2, hit record. Oh, I got to remove my extra tripod. It's in the way there. Okay. That was the tripod I was using for the short form videos for Amazon. Okay. What's the best way to avoid distracting visual elements in your PowerPoint? Follow the rule of 1. Only one idea per slide, one image per slide, no text per slide. Do that, there will be no distractions. Okay, that is an issue that I agree with profoundly, and yet have a terrible time communicating with people, because every organization has a whole giant marketing team and graphic arts team, and they all want to be useful, and they clog up every slide to do everything so that it can be a document that people can read and also use for presentations. And it's a horrible, horrible practice. But it's very hard for me to convince people to do otherwise. So I'm a little reluctant to spend a lot of time on it, because it's tilting at the windmills a little too much, even for me. Let's look at the next question. What are the risks of not maintaining eye contact or connection with the audience, and how can I improve in this area? Okay, that's an easy one. For that, I'm going to use my cell phone. Okay. So again, we go to camera 2. Try a different angle. So what's the risk of not maintaining good eye contact with your audience when you're speaking? Well, it's this. They're going to ignore you. They're going to stare at their cell phone and look at Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and text and email and ignore you. Okay, I have talked about that issue a bunch. Whether I did that in a completely fresh new way, I'm not 100% certain. But it is one I do agree with very strongly and think is an important point. How do I prevent speaking in a monotone or flat voice that lacks enthusiasm or energy? Okay. I'm going to do a short on this as well. How do I prevent speaking in a monotone or a voice that lacks energy? Well, don't do what I just did there. Don't try to memorize something. Whatever you do, don't read something. If you want to sound like a real person, your voice needs to go high, low, fast, slow. There's got to be variety. The only way to do that is to rehearse on video until you love how you sound. Okay, so just background for you, those of you nice enough to spend time with me here. I do feel strongly about that. I do think that is great advice. My challenge is, how do I say one of the same things I say a lot, which is practice on video until you like it, and make it sound fresh and not make it sound like, oh, TJ's saying the same old thing again. We don't need to watch him again. It is a tough issue that I deal with, where I'm really trying to figure out what the solution is, because so many people write to me about so many different problems that relate to communication that do have one consistent element in the solution, which is practice on video till you like it. So it's a communication challenge for me to try to figure out new ways of saying the same old principle. What should I do to avoid starting or ending my presentation abruptly without proper introductions or conclusions? Okay, I'm trying to think of how I can pull that apart because it's combining several elements. I'm going to come back to that one. How can I prevent the misuse of humor or inappropriate jokes that may offend or alienate the audience? Okay, that's a topical, relevant one today. How can you figure out a way of avoiding humor that will alienate your audience or blow up in your face? Well, do this. Make fun of yourself. You are the safest person to make fun of, for starters. The next thing, get a whole bunch of people in a room who are exactly not like you. Different race, age, color, creed, orientation. Practice your joke in front of them and get feedback. If they say, whoa, don't go there, then don't go there. I think that will work. Now, the tricky part about that is, in theory, you could tell a joke in front of 5 colleagues at your work as a test for the real speech, and that could offend people and get you in trouble. So there's always something that in a TikTok, YouTube short, a 15, 20, 30, even 60-second tip where I can't be complete. I can't cover every single contingency. And that is one of them right there, because as I was saying it, I could say, well, what about this exception? There's always going to be exceptions. So everything I say, especially in a short video, gone out of focus, everything I say in a short form video, you do need to think about, does this work for me in my situation? Or is there an exception? So please give that some thought. Hey, it's been so much fun being back with you today. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. I've missed you for the last week, although I had a great family vacation. Looking forward to seeing you tomorrow, 9 a.m. to noon Eastern time. We're going to have a lot of fun, roll up our sleeves together, get to work, and learn how to be better communicators. Thanks so much. See you tomorrow. And before that, please watch the videos I post throughout the day. Again, there's 3 videos posted every day, 2 shorts, 1 long, in addition to this live. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel, like this video, share it, and sign up for notifications. Thanks.